All right.
Only one way to find out.
Exactly. I just go to the stream and see if it's working while we're talking about whether or not it's working.
Well, did you
Well,
press
it says
start
it's
yet, or
upcoming.
were you just talking
That's
about
progress.
pressing start? Oh, okay. Well, there's a
All right,
big
now it
moon
says
out
it's
tonight,
live.
but the moon looks like a banana. What's up, live? We're live, are we?
Good.
All right, I gotta hope that the
So-
Oodie last time you said something about the audios being all wacky dacky. So, stream, let us know, how does the audio sound between all three of us? Let's actually do that for once, where we test that and see if it's working right. So
I mean, that's the freaking problem, though, Kamui, is anytime I ask, they're all like, oh, it's good. Oodie doesn't sound like he's 10 times louder than everyone. And then you get to the freaking YouTube better, and what do you know? I'm freaking 20 times louder, as a matter of fact.
yeah, I turn you guys down quite a bit. So the way it's looking on mine, I am actually looking at the meters here, so I turn you guys down a lot so that you don't go in the red, and I'm not really doing that much either. Try to get you to the top of the yellow, but...
Yeah, that's literally exactly what I do. So
Oodie sounds a little like crack, but that's it. Well, he's walking outside, so I think that's less of that.
More so normal.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
Should we start with intro topics and do that the whole stream again?
Oh, you already know that's what I was going for. All right, perfect.
Yeah. All right.
So Kamui, if you want to share your screen.
Right.
Oh, well, actually, well, Kamui, let's not jump the gun. We should probably, like, introduce our guest and stuff. Just,
that's what I'm saying. You're the better stream host, bro.
Maybe.
Oh, audio is a good balance. Perfect.
All right, then.
All right, I figured it out. All right. Yeah, introduce yourself. Oh, can you do the intro while you're at it, Koru-san? Introduce yourself as our intro.
Mr. Gay.
Nice. Should I just? I was about to just fucking read the about me off my channel, but I realized it talked in third person. So yeah,
that's arguably funnier.
Yeah, I like it.
Hey, Coruscant here. If you like the videos, please subscribe to the channel. If you don't like the videos, please subscribe to the channel. I really need subscribers. I don't have an upload schedule, and I might disappear for 10 years and drop a 10-hour video essay on why Jake Barrington is the greatest fictional character of all time, but I try to upload at least twice a month. Links to contact me can be found all across my channel, but in case you need more, and then it's my links listed. So yeah, I just do pretty much any type of media, although right now it's primarily anime and manga stuff, as well as Avatar. If that counts or not, doesn't matter.
Whatever you want it to be. So we talked a little bit about this off stream, but like, what's the favorite video that you've ever done? Like, if you could recommend people to go check out your channel just to go see one video, which one would that be?
Shoot, it'd probably be the Kalki video or the time loop video. I think those are the two where, like, I don't know, I was really excited to make. I mean, I was excited to make pretty much all my videos, but like, I don't know, these ones just maybe because the Kawaki one, I'm coming back after a long break. You know, it's been like a month since I uploaded. So it was like hype to actually get back into the channel. And the Boruto time loop one, I don't know, I've just had that idea festering for so long and just like trying to pick up little pieces of evidence. So to actually make the video and see it do well was just, you know, great experience.
Yeah. And the Kawaki videos, the video that I first found, actually, it's like, it was just in my algorithm. I was like, oh, understanding Kawaki video, bet. All right, let's check this out. From there is a freaking good video. So, hey, I personally recommend it. It got me to click on the rest of your channel, check out your time loop video and all the other videos. So, yeah, you definitely go check out that one. And we'll definitely be talking about the time loop theory a little bit later, since it's literally the title of this podcast now, apparently, I guess, as well. So.
Yeah.
Well, it was the most interesting thing we had to work with. So.
Okay, well. Kamui, if you want to share your screen and pull up them intro topics.
All right. Oh. How do I do that again? I figured it out. I forget every single time how to do this. Which one do you want to start with?
Okay, well, that's a double echo. Here, I probably just turn it down on my end, though, so you're probably fine.
Yeah, I think mine's fine. Oh, my God. It's fucking back. All right, I'm
so for reference for chat, Kamui hurt his back today, which is why Oodie's out walking and not Kamui. Thank God.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna have to sit while I do this part. I was gonna walk around, but if I bend over standing, that's not working. All right, so which one do you want to start with?
I was gonna let you choose.
Are we gonna go different ones from last time?
Yeah. We'll do different ones. Feel like at this point we have enough different ones left to finish them off. In terms of new ones.
Oh
It'll
god.
be fun to ask different. Yeah.
This is a
It's
new
the
one.
cursed list.
So,
Okay.
Koru-san. You see
Yeah.
this, I'm kind of circling it here on Kurama.
Yeah.
Is this his eye or his ear? Or rather, are his
do you think?
eyes in his ear, or do his ears have eyes? Is a follow-up question.
Fuck.
Thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to say, I don't know if it's supposed to, I doubt it's supposed to be a shadow. Maybe his ears have maybe his ears, like, the actual entrance to the ears is behind his head, and that's actually like a marking that goes over his eye, rather than being like the inside of his ear.
Let's try.
Baryon mode has a similar thing, but
Yeah,
rather
that's what
than
I-
like
some
the
people
ear, yeah, like it's like the third like upper top whisper like conjoins with Naruto's eye.
Hmm.
I'm wondering if that's related.
So let's.
This is with the older Kurama as well.
Chapter covers.
Both young and old.
Oh,
That is so weird. I never even noticed that shit until now.
Boruto chapter 10 cover.
That's our specialty, noticing stupid things that don't actually matter.
Yeah, I want to look at like a bunch of images here. Like, okay, this one's got some shading that's not the other one. Can I like make this bigger?
Has this always been a thing on Kurama? Like, is this just like the baby Kurama variant, or is this like?
Oh, this
That's
is all
I
of
wanted
them.
to check.
Now, I will say,
I can't make this bigger.
I will say it's
so-
more noticeable here. It's a lot less noticeable in some other images of Kurama. So normally, it's not like pointed out to you, but here it's just like thrown in your face. So I feel like this is like one of the better pictures of seeing it like this. But yeah, this is my thoughts.
I mean,
I'm
even
still there.
here, it's kind of just like the same thing. It's just like
Yeah, that
his
makes no
ear
sense.
thing is connected. I mean, yeah, in the Ikimoto art, see here, I think it's what Koru said. It's kind of just like he has the eye markings, and they're just connected to his ears like that. Because you see this little bridge there, you can call it. But with Ikimoto's one there, it's just like so in your face that it's just like the same part.
I mean, I think it's kind of like a panda, to where it's just like the color of the fur, but it's just still weird.
Yeah.
He has black fur. Like... Now, I will say, it's also possible it could be like an orca, to where that white dot in the front of their head, that's not their eye. That's where predators think their eye is, and their eye is actually somewhere else, like strategically from evolution-wise, to protect their eyes. As like not a weak point in this case.
No, but this is definitely his eyes. We know these are his eyes because
Kurama is hidden
Naruto's eyes
Rinnegan.
turn
As far
into
as you
them.
know.
Yeah, we know that these are his eyes. Well, anyway, I think Koru's answer is the probable answer.
Okay. Could also be a third new body part that has never ever been identified.
Dude, it looks
ever
so
before.
bad here, bro. Because in the Kishimoto ones, the eye one is like more narrow, and then it has like the bridge that goes into the ear. Here, this eye thing is huge, and it's just like it doesn't feel
It's just on
separated.
here. Yeah.
It looks like a surfboard, kind of. Or like a loofah? Is that a thing? A loofah? Or am I saying the word wrong? Loofah? Loofah. It's got to be a loofah. I don't know if that's even a thing. Looks like a surfboard.
That's okay.
No, okay, I got a funny one. It looks like Gaara's gourd.
Oh my god. Here it's just as bad. It's like all these panels. It's just one smooth thing. He just has eyes in his ears. That's how it looks here.
The Ikimoto's baby Kurama just looks kind of uncanny. If you go to like the chapter cover of chapter 10, I don't know, like I guess Kurama has kind of like always had arms, but like the weirdly human arm that you see that? It's just like kind of uncanny. It's like why is his arm out like he's like a human?
And I think he's supposed to be like a small adult Kurama,
Right.
not a baby Kurama. But I feel like it's not. Like, I feel like if he just did look like that, but small, people wouldn't be saying baby Kurama, because I feel like they're saying it because of his size,
Yeah.
but also
They're saying
because of what
because
he
of his size.
looks like.
His face
I feel like it
has
is
a different
uncanny in that
shape to
way.
it. It just looks, it's
Yeah.
not the
He looks
same as
shibified.
More
Kishimoto's
round.
baby Kurama, but it's got like a slightly babyish.
Yeah.
It looks like the
Yeah, exactly.
Ikimoto style of baby Kurama is how it
Mhm.
feels.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There's that one.
eyes
All
in
right.
his ears. So real quick, this is the question. Nothing to show unless you need us to.
It's like the
Yeah,
Boruto
so-
shadow figure where it's like you see the theory where it's like the dude in like the shadowy cloak in
Yeah,
Naruto.
the guy who looks
manga.
like
It's like,
Urashiki. Like,
I would love for that to be like Boruto or Ishiki or some shit, but it's not. It's a drawing error. Like I love the cope, and to be honest, I'm a big fan. But like at the end of the day, I know like there's no even if it does turn out to be that, I know that Kishimoto did not plan that far right. Let's be
Literally,
honest.
yeah.
The dude was
it's
not
just weird, like, because if he
manga.
did
Planning on
plan
ending
that
it.
out, it's such
Yeah.
a weird fake plan that it's like, what was he going for? Because hypothetically,
Right.
if it was Urashiki and he was trying to set him up a little bit early before the Boruto movie and stuff, well, he ultimately cut Urashiki out of the movie. So it's
Right.
like, if that was his plan, bro just went back on it pretty easily.
Yeah.
Like,
And Kage, I mean not Kage. Urashiki is literally shown in like the photo, if I'm not mistaken, of Kage is like when she's scared of like the other Otsutsuki. It's like
Yeah.
Momoshiki, Urashiki, Kinshiki. So I was expecting him to be like one of the big three, and then he shows up in like like a filler arc and then just kind of like gets beat up by Jiraiya. So
Yeah. I mean, even
But the-
more so than that, if you're so excited to randomly shoehorn in Urashiki as early as possible,
yeah,
just like 2 years early, let's say, I don't know how early it was, but like, why wouldn't you execute on that if that was the case? Like, you're
Yeah.
that excited that you're just gonna throw them in there. What changed?
Yeah. So, like, from what I had heard in regards to the Urashiki stuff was Kishimoto did plan on Urashiki being like a big villain, but the thing
Yeah.
was time constraint was a problem, and Urashiki was the least relevant to the father-son dynamic in that movie for obvious reasons. So he cut out, basically, from what I understood, he cut out Urashiki because of themes, because he wasn't relevant to the theme of the movie, even though, but I think he personally was interested in him as a villain, but it was the wrong movie for him, basically. But then
And
at
if
that
I
point,
remember
he
correctly-
kind of just got scrapped.
and if I remember correctly, it was actually Kishimoto who mainly worked on the Boruto time travel arc with Urashiki as the main villain. So it was like it seems like he really wanted to get him in there, like at some point, and it just kind of like never really came around to it.
Yeah, from what I
I
heard
could
though,
be
he just
wrong. I
proposed
think
the
the time
idea. So
slip
I
part-
think he gave the idea, like, hey, this is what Urashiki's gonna do. He's gonna go back in time and fight them, blah blah blah. But I think from there, the specific writing, the script, and all that stuff, I think that was just the anime. Because I really don't think
Definitely
Kishimoto
not
would have wrote
Kishimoto.
such a terribly weird power scaled
The
arc.
worst, absolutely horrible arc for Power Scale.
It was
man,
lovable, but there was a lot of
Yeah.
problems.
It's fun. I'll say it's fun. That's what I'll say. It's fun. That's it. To be honest, jeez,
Well,
man.
I think the original idea was for the time slip arc to actually be a movie, anyways, not a
agree.
filler
Yeah,
arc. So
yeah. I heard that. I
think
am
that works
kind of
much better as a
glad
movie
that
too.
it.
I would have much preferred that there was just like a Kishimoto / Kodachi Urashiki movie. Like,
Yeah.
Now the
It just
question is,
could've been
Kamui.
better.
The question is, do you think, going based on what we were saying last time, of the hypothetical sequel to the Boruto movie, if there was no anime or manga written by Kodachi, if it was the Kawaki movie, do you think the time slip movie would be the second movie or the third movie? Which one would be the Kawaki movie?
I think so. Okay, you could do. Okay, so here, well, obviously you could do either way and make it work just fine.
Yeah.
But as it is, without changing the story much, you would do the time slip second and Kawaki third because of the plot organization because the Karma Seal is basically irrelevant in that movie, in the time slip arc, and Kawaki hasn't been introduced yet. So if you do the Kawaki movie second, you pretty much have, well, I guess you don't have to bring Kawaki back in time, but like, what a wasted opportunity, man, to get Kawaki and Kid Naruto. Like, you know, like you want him there at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Bro, that's a fun what if. What if Kawaki was in the time slip arc? That's actually a really fun what if. That's not even a what. That's more like a rewriting at that point. Just like a fanfic almost. I love it.
Yeah, I
We
also
should do that.
it is. I also will say
Write that
I
down.
feel like the time slip arc is a more natural follow up as far as Boruto and Naruto's relationship goes, because it's
Yeah.
like, because of their development in the first movie, they are the way they are in the second movie. It's also a chance for Boruto to learn a little bit more about Sasuke. And obviously you could throw Kawaki in there and all that jargon, but I feel like it's a good follow up to Boruto and Naruto's relationship. That being said, I love the idea of Urashiki being the final villain of the Otsutsuki just because he's fucking hilarious. And I love Urashiki.
I think it works. I think it works in all fronts. Yeah, I love it. But anyways, did you do your Karma Seal rant that you wanted to do?
Oh, well, it was in reference to what you said about Kawaki's not like having the power within him, Ishiki's power within, but being unable to use that thing. It's just like, we've talked about this before, but man,
I do think that with like, since we have not seen the time skip V2 versions of both Boruto and Kawaki, I think we might actually see something new when those guys come out. I don't think it's going to be the same designs that they have in part one. I don't know whether that'll like answer any of the questions that we have right now, but I do think that there will be a change. And if I'm wrong, then so be it. But I think
I
that
mean, honestly,
the new
I would prefer that
version-
they just go to that version, at least for Kawaki. I like that version of Kawaki way better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
version of Kawaki
It
looks
looks
sick.
so much cooler.
He looks
Literally.
so sick.
Yeah.
Like, instead
Especially
of
when he
looking like
gets
a
the fuck-
greasy homeless dude who hasn't showered in 10 years, he looks like an
Tokyo
actual
Render
rock and roll
cold
band.
badass bro. Like,
I needed to get the scarf outfit like ASAP. I'm not gonna lie. I don't fuck with the white jacket. It just, it's, I
Yeah.
mean, it's cool, but it's like, come on, man. Nigga look like he's fucking Tokyo Manji gang or some shit.
no, as a side note,
Sasuke's white jacket looked way cool during his
Yeah.
time skip.
yeah, way cooler. But as a side note, assuming they keep the purple scarf, do you think that's because Kawaki killed Code? Or is he just going to go to the Code's tailor shop and get the same scarf?
Okay, so hypothetically, let's go with the idea he killed Code and stole his scarf.
Why?
Why?
He just loots fucking Code's body. No, it's revealed that Code is actually Kawaki's long lost brother, and so he takes his scarf out of remembrance from
Hey,
him.
no, you know why it
Bro, we
works?
get a
Because
JJK reference there.
he's also got his dad's jacket, so he's taking his family members' clothing.
Oh hell yeah. Boruto suffers from being monkless, like so badly, and it's so apparent in comparison to Naruto. Now, I would be scared to see what Ikimoto would do if he had a weekly schedule, but beyond that, like the small character interactions, the downtime has to be like cut short because with a monthly manga, you can't have that slower pacing. Otherwise,
Yeah.
viewers get uninterested. You remember when the cohabitation arc was like right before the prophecy where Mitsuki, Kawaki, Ada, Damon, Boruto were all living together. Like everybody was like, it was unbearable. We can't stand this. This is like the worst stretch of Boruto because we were waiting month for Kawaki sitting on the couch scratching on his balls and Damon playing video games. So it was like, we can't stand this pacing. And with Tubu Vortex, we're seeing like every chapter has like a bit of action. Even in like chapter 5, the only action was in a flashback, but it's there. So it's like Kishimoto's getting more used to the monthly pacing now, it looks like. So hopefully we'll get some more of those like down moments. But like in part 1, it's so apparent that there could have been more story developments that just kind of were missed. Just because like they had to keep action focused.
In my opinion, I don't think the monthly manga is the best excuse. While it is true in the case of Boruto's monthly manga, you get less pages per month as you do with Kishimoto because, well, instead of putting out 70-page monthly chapters, you're just putting out 40. But it's really just more what you do with that time. Instead of having a giant page of just a random building that's irrelevant to the plot, to show the background. Let's just use our pages and panels more wisely. Instead of having nonsense, nothing, randomness dialogue that doesn't do anything, let's cut those out and put in important scenes. Like, I feel like they could just use the pages a little bit better, insert all the important downtime character moments that you need, and cut out the random nonsense nothingness, and problem solved.
Here's the funniest part about that, Kamui. Not only does Kishimoto use 10 times more flashbacks than Ikimoto, Kishimoto uses double-page spreads and still finds room to do more with his pages than Ikimoto.
Well, I mean, like, honestly, I haven't finished the Naruto manga, but I read up until like beginning of Search for Tsunade, and I just immediately noticed Kishimoto just puts more panels on each page. He'll have, like, sometimes you'll just see, like, it'll be like 6 little panels of just either subtle facial expression changes or just characters talking or whatever it is. He'll integrate a lot of small panels when he needs to, and he has the big panels for the impact panels when he needs them. Like, he just puts more things on the page. That's all there is to it.
I noticed that too. Like Kamui, I think we were looking at the Land of Waves in the manga. It's right after, I think it was, right after Haku dies, and he looks down at Haku. He says something along the lines of, "This fight is mine," and then he looks right back up to Zabuza. There's a small expression change, but it says so much, and Ikimoto would never.
Yeah, like Ikimoto will just do a time skip of Zabuza looking down, and then it skips to Zabuza stabbing Gato. There's just no in between. It just cuts the beginning and end. Like,
yeah, they would have just had a sweatband over top of Kakashi's mask somehow.
Right? Yeah, there would have been a sweat bead on every. Bro, actually, Kuro, have you noticed lately? Mello, we gotta thank Mello for bringing this to our attention. Ikimoto puts a singular sweat bead on everybody's left or right cheek. I forgot. I think it's their right cheek, but our left, but their right. Every single page, every single panel, every character that isn't Hidari and Jura just has a single sweat bead on their face in every single panel for the last several chapters.
Oh yeah, I noticed it. Yeah. The one who gets it the most is Sumire. God, she has like sweat marks like every single thing.
Always has it.
Oh it's like Ikimoto and expressions has always been, in my opinion, that's like his worst suit. Like, he only can make a couple of expressions, and when he doesn't know how to make like an actual apprehensive expression, he just sticks a bunch of sweat marks on the characters, and it just looks like it's like really hot instead of like them actually being, engaged.
The expression thing's true though, because I've been saying this about Shikamaru and Sasuke for the longest time. They just make the exact same expression in every single panel. Like, Shikamaru's got, we went over this one time, the Shikamaru looking out the window panel, or the Shikamaru gritting his teeth face. Those are the only 2 faces Shikamaru ever makes. And then Sasuke's just got the looking to the side face in every single panel with a serious expression. They just get the one face.
And Ikimoto's commented on the fact that he's not very good with expressions, especially early on. He would draw Boruto's face more round, more childlike whenever he was being immature, and more like
or
sharp
Himawari.
and straight. He's being mature. Yeah. Himawari is bad with it, but yeah. I especially baby Boruto. He doesn't look like he has human proportions at all. Like, going back to Gaara's gourd.
Yeah. Dude, early Boruto, man. Defending that we had to do in those days, absurd. It's not even looking back, we did it. Ikimoto did not deserve the defending back then. I'm just looking at it, I'm just like, wow. Like, we really were reading this. And Sasuke was looking like Severus Snape.
Bro,
Himawari was a
the
literal
Harry
demon
Potter
child.
design. Like what was he? No offense, but like, of all the things, just what was Ikimoto thinking when he thought, I want Sasuke to look like that?
Yeah.
Like, I would have kept retrying until he looked normal. I would never have published that.
Literally.
Over and over again.
Like, the Sasuke Retsuden manga doesn't have that freaking problem. From chapter 1, he looks great. Anyway.
Real quick, J-Man, LOL, what if Naruto neglected trained seriously God mode? He's looking at Chaos Shinobi.
Did you want to do that first? We could do that if you want to.
No, I was just saying, I was looking at chat to see if you had a lot of messages, and I just saw J-Man referencing that video.
Okay, well, I mean, since we're already talking about it, we might as well really quick. I mean, Kamui? Yeah, you got what do you think, Kamui? Yeah, yeah.
Just the one or multiple?
Well, we can do both versions, but we could just do this one
Okay.
as the last intro topic. Yeah.
Okay. So, Kuro, we were dying to know your opinion on this. It's a what if, okay?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
what if neglected god like Naruto trained seriously?
What if?
What if who Naruto trained seriously?
Yeah.
Neglected
I'll say it
god
two
like
different ways
Naruto.
for you. So, there's two different ways to interpret this what if. So the first is, what if neglected god like Naruto trained seriously? Or alternatively, if you prefer, what if Naruto neglected trained seriously godlike?
Does that help clear it up for you?
I'm so fucking lost right now. What if Naruto neglected trained godlike?
Trained seriously godlike, or what if neglected godlike Naruto trained seriously? Either what if, honestly, just whichever one.
I mean, whichever way you want to approach it, I guess it's up to your interpretation of how it makes more sense to you. But please take it away.
So the way I'm thinking of this, which I have no clue if it's right or wrong, but I'm thinking of what if Kid Naruto, who was neglected, right? Like from childhood in Konoha, trained godlike.
Yeah. What if?
Okay.
Yeah. Don't forget neglected and seriously as well. But yeah.
Emphasize the neglected.
Okay.
And the serious.
Being neglected, there's no way he has access to basic ninja training. So I'm assuming he's probably gonna that's this academy ninja training is what I mean, the basics, the water, chakra control, etc., etc. So he's probably gonna go straight for the scroll of stealing. I don't know how you would find out about that actually. Now I think about it.
Well, this is the fun of the what if. You should get to explore the idea.
Well, realistically, if Naruto was completely neglected from day one, Kurama would have just wreaked havoc. Would Naruto have even made it to the Land of Waves without having Iruka around?
Well, if Kurama's wreaking havoc, maybe this is why he's godlike.
But he's gonna train seriously godlike. So in this case, Kurama must be
training. Yes.
Kurama is training Naruto.
Because he's neglected.
That is an interesting thing to bring up, actually, now I think about it. I mean, Kurama's knowledge of ninjutsu, is it like Momoshiki's knowledge of shinjutsu? Does he know all ninjutsu since she's technically just chakra itself?
He
knows quantum mechanics. Yeah.
Assuming he doesn't have the other, I'm trying to figure out if he could learn about the Rasengan from Kurama, even though the half of Kurama that was in Minato when he died wouldn't.
Well, but he's seen it from the Minato one shot, so he's seen the Rasengan.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So he's seen the Rasengan. He could potentially teach Naruto the Rasengan, though it'd probably turn out not like the typical, but the purple Rasengan that he uses when he's in freaking QB KCM 0.
So I think in both cases he was training seriously. In this case, he doesn't have shadow clones, but I think Kurama would start the training earlier. Thus, I think it would equal out, so he would learn the Rasengan around the same time.
That's true.
But the Rasengan would be seriously godlike.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
As opposed to his normal Rasengan.
Kurama knows fire style, but Naruto doesn't have the fire chakra nature.
See, this is what I'm saying, Kamui. Kurama does know fire style. In episode 1, the cutscene, he did use that. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Why are you saying it like I said he doesn't? He uses it versus pain too. I've referenced this before. Like he shoots out like a dragon fire. I've never disagreed with that.
Well, yeah, but I referenced it better than you.
But what's interesting though is that Naruto doesn't get fire style from Kurama.
Yeah,
for
because he
some
doesn't
reason.
have the.
As far as we know.
That's weird because Gara gets the magnet release, right? And then B gets. Wait, what the fuck does the A-Tails have? It's like
Ink.
ink. Does B ever use
Well,
any
what if
ink?
Naruto had fire style, but because he's always working with Sasuke teamwork style, it's Sasuke's fire is amplified by Naruto's wind, so he doesn't have to use fire style.
But
Sasuke's got
while that is true,
But that's not neglected
imagine if
then, right?
Naruto made a fire style, wind style Rasen Shuriken. Now that's pretty strong.
Hell yeah.
You know, okay, Kamui, you're gonna hate me. So, Kuro, if there had to be an Earth style Rasengan,
Earth style or Sengon? Hell no. What the
so how
fuck?
do you think it would play out? Yeah. So what do you think that would look like, or the effects of it even? If it's maybe it's a Rasengan you've already seen even, or is it completely new? What do you think?
Okay, well, so the wind style Rasengan, the Rasen Shuriken ends up cutting. The Earth style Rasengan would like fucking dude. What? I think about it. Wouldn't it just be like? How could you even manipulate Earth to like spin like that? You just have like a fucking.
Well, I mean, okay.
Well, just what would you do with it?
Let's go over this. So
Oodie,
the lightning
stop
style
giving him
Rasengan
hints.
is
Stop
vanishing
giving him hints and
Rasengan.
let him do it himself, please.
Okay,
So-
okay, sure. Just helping him out with in-universe logic.
So just
All
what
right.
do you think it would be?
be?
Just take it away. Just explore your thoughts and come to a conclusion on
Please.
what you think the Earth style Rasengan
The
would
Earth
be.
style Rasengan would be, yeah, the Earth style
Adding
Rasengan.
light style,
Specifically
adding
Earth style.
lightning to the Rasengan caused it to vanish.
Yes.
Adding wind to the Rasengan causes it to fucking cut.
Well, as
So
a
adding
quick side
fire
note, in the
style-
Boruto movie, wind style caused the Rasengan to vanish too, by the way. But that's besides the
Oh
point.
yeah. So fire style would probably make it burn, which means earth style would make it.
I mean, the Earth is kind of like the planet. you know,
Oodie.
thinking out loud.
Yeah, Oodie, this is how you
Uh,
prove that you're just desperate. I haven't said a single hint of anything else, and you're over here trying your hardest to propose your agenda. I don't want to point that out here.
Earth.
You're looking pretty desperate.
Earth stars, hang on. Would make them probably like. I don't know. It'd probably be like heavy hitting, because what I'm thinking of is like the Earth Gauntlet Jutsu. I think it'd be something similar.
What do you think
It
it would
probably-
look
I think it would
like
have a
for
heavy
Rasengan?
effect. I don't know about the hit itself, but the effect for sure.
What do you think it would look like?
Look
Like an
like
aftermath kind of thing.
it'd probably be like
How
dirt
Earth style usually
swirling
works.
and the
Oodie,
Rasengan
can you
instead of like
stop and let him
actual
just-
chunks of rock.
Wait, say that again, sorry.
Okay, so yeah, swirling. Yeah, exactly.
What did you stop, Oodie? Stop!
Like-
I can't
like-
hear what he says, but I'm trying to interrupt you.
Particles in the air.
Like dust or rocks like swirling.
Okay,
Just like
okay.
particles in the air, right?
What'd you say?
Just like particles in the air.
Yeah, kind of like
Ignore
yeah.
him. He's
They're kinda
trying
like
really
swirling
hard to
around.
do something, and I genuinely want you to come to your own answer. So
And since other Rasengan variants wouldn't change, then it'd probably be the same blue color or yellow if you're the manga reader or whatever. So it'd be like that with just like brown particles swirling around it. Probably like hits heavier than a typical Rasengan. Earth effect? I don't know. It could make you weighted, possibly. I don't think that's ever been like actually mentioned as an effect. I'm
well,
trying to
it's a
remember
new
when
Rasengan,
Kakashi,
so it can be whatever you
when
think.
Kakashi explained the freaking elements to Naruto back in Shippuden. I'm trying to remember like what it was that how the other elements interacted with Earth, but I can't recall.
If I remember correctly, wind cut the paper in half, lightning crinkled it up, fire burned it, water made it wet, and earth made it crumble.
So Earth style was saying it just makes you fucking disintegrate.
Well, let's remember that. Let's remember that like Earth is like I don't think it'd be brown particles because like 80% of the Earth's surface is blue. That's why the sky is blue.
Alright.
It's probably like ocean water.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
but
go ahead and
Isle
tell
is
you.
like
I'm just gonna
always
tell you
brown,
his theory
right?
because he won't stop, and it's getting annoying for me at least. Oodie thinks the Earth style Rasengan should just be Rasengan Uzuhiko, and he's been trying
Hang on.
to get you
What?
to think that way this whole time, and you have so far been listing all of the other options that not Oodie has come up with, which I think make more sense. Now that I've said that, Oodie can come back because it just was annoying me.
They're saying on Uzuhigo. What do you get that from like it would like glue them to like the earth or something?
No,
But
Oodie
you
just
basically
just
already listed
literally the
Uzuhiko. Kamui,
Rasengan
stop freaking kicking me to the
Uzuhiko.
audience. Kamui, I hope you realize I was talking in the audience. That annoys me so much that no one could hear me and I was talking. I thought people were freaking annoying. Hate you for that.
Well, I also told you to stop like 80 times and you just were not listening.
Okay, well, you weren't listening to me ignoring you.
Yes, I was listening.
I'm
That's
moving
why I
you
found
to
it
the
annoying.
audience.
You're defeating the
Oh
purpose
my
of
God.
you're defeating the purpose of the intro topic if you're giving him your answer instead of letting him come to his
I
own
didn't
answer.
give him my answer.
You were trying so hard to lead him in that direction. I don't know. It's like, can you just let him do it on his own, please?
Obviously.
Anyway,
So I want to be right.
I told him it for you because you wanted it so bad. But no, Oodie thinks that shit, the
God.
Earth style Rasengan would just be Rasengan Uzuhiko. As it is, no difference.
As it should be. It's a planetary Rasengan. Meant to protect the planet.
Rasengan. Yeah, but
Push
Earth
back
style,
against it as
like,
much as you want.
It's the coolest way. Like, every element, it's not actually applied to the Rasengan. Like, there's nothing about wind that specifies cutting. There's nothing in electricity that says disappearance. So you gotta add a cool effect. Uzuhiko's a freaking cool effect.
That's true, but
Well,
like
no, everything
Uzuhiko
about
works
wind
by, like,
implies cutting,
linking
so I
the-
disagree there. But the disappearing one, actually, is a side tangent. The disappearing one should have been water style because
Yes.
Mu's ability to disappear is using the water reflection things to make him just disappear. So it should have applied that to the Rasengan to make it disappear.
And
Boruto
the
does
cutting
have-
one, so either the cutting one just is Chidori, as it originally was, or it's the Rasen Shuriken, which actually, if they're going that route, I think that actually kind of, in a weird way, parallel works in the story, because around the same time, Sasuke fights Itachi, and he applies lightning style to the Demon Wind Shuriken that he throws at Itachi, and then that's when it cuts through Itachi's blade. To
Yeah,
cut
B does
Itachi,
the same
or the
thing
clone.
with his sword to cut through Suigetsu's using Zabuza's blade.
Yeah, but mine is more Rasen Shuriken-esque, which I think is a cool parallel. Even if it's not like a story thing, it's like purely choreography-wise. But
So you're saying that you
cool.
think the lightning style should have been the Rasen Shuriken? Or what are you trying to get at?
because it's the cutting one, as we see with the Sasuke Itachi fight.
So that's the problem is both lightning and wind have been used for cutting historically before. Like, it's already been implied to have this power. So it's kind of just like if anything, the Chidori should have been a wind style technique. It should have been Kakashi's failed Rasen Shuriken. Like,
Yeah.
so you could just argue it's Kakashi's fighting style.
If only Kakashi used more than 5 jutsu.
Yeah.
Bro, okay, we gotta tell him the coldest line Kakashi never said. If we remember it. Okay. So imagine Kakashi going up against anyone. I don't care who it is. Zabuza, Pain, whatever.
Yeah, I think I remember now. If you don't say what I'm thinking of, I'll say it.
Okay. So Kakashi says, I am Kakashi of 1,000 jutsu, and against you, I don't even need one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would have phrased this slightly differently, but yeah, like I know 1,000 jutsu, but I don't need to use any. I'm Kakashi of the Sharingan Eye, copied over 1,000 jutsu, but I don't need to use any of them against you.
Yeah.
So hard. I love it.
Or better yet, would it be better if the opponent's like, Kakashi, I hear you've mastered over 1,000 jutsu, and then Kakashi responds by saying, I have, but I don't need to use any of them against the likes of you.
I like that too. Yeah, like Pain could have said that.
No, that would not work
So
against
cool.
Pain. It'd have to be against either against Zabuza or just some random ninja,
Zabuza's
like
bad.
as one of the sound
Scrub.
ninja in the
Yeah.
Konoha Crush or something.
I wanted to be someone strong is the thing, so it just
I
comes
think
across cooler.
Zabuza's the only one that it works.
Zabuza.
It does not work against Pain because Kakashi's
I
going
know,
into
I
that
know.
fight knowing Pain killed Jiraiya and shit. One interesting option would be Itachi, but I think Kakashi knew Itachi was strong enough to not be saying shit like that. So
Yeah.
But
So
it would be
it's
fun.
actually interesting. But okay, it just makes sense though that like because he's like his nature is lightning, and he explains that like Earth is like weak against lightning, so he's like the worst at Earth style jutsu. It makes sense. Most of his jutsu are Earth style jutsu. He wouldn't use most of his jutsu.
Where did you hear that he's worse at Earth style jutsu though? Where'd you hear that?
Well, no, it's just like the strengths and weaknesses of the nature elementals. Earth is weak against lightning.
It's not. No, but it's not Nen, where it has a specific thing to say
I
that
know.
you're the farthest category away is what you're worst at. They never say that.
Well, no, it does say that. I'm like 95% sure. 99%
Where?
sure, I would really say.
Where?
When they're
Where do you think
explaining that.
Do you think when Kakashi teaches Naruto about natures, that's when he says it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, at the waterfall.
I'll go ahead and find it, but he did.
Carl, what do you think? Who's right here? I'm pretty sure he does.
I do
look.
not
Go for it.
recall Kakashi saying that. I mean, it could be true. I just don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it is, but
We're gonna go through.
Or
Hopefully,
at
we'll
the-
hit copyright for this.
at
We're
the
gonna go
very
through
least, it's
every chapter of Naruto
my
training.
God. freaking annoying.
Every chat.
Knowing Kamui, he will do this, so I might as well say. Okay, maybe it's not the weakness of the jutsu, though I think it is. Effectively speaking, anyways, even if they don't say it. It might be the fact that they're born with one, maybe two, and then it's hardest for them to learn the nature affinity farthest from what they were born with.
No, it's not the farthest from what you're born with. It's just that you're naturally affinity to one. Sometimes like another one close. Yeah. The other ones are harder to learn.
And
like
you can
the more
learn
you
them.
learn, the harder they are. But it's not that the farthest one away from you is inherently harder.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm gonna go through this whole thing, but okay. You'll need to require two techniques, change chakra form, blah blah blah. The Chidori, I changed my chakra nature to lightning. That's not helpful. Regard the rest is different from the Chidori because it only involves change chakra form. Alright, so what we really need, takes a massive time to require these techniques. Was the experiment?
No idea where this would be.
This. Anyway, I think he just says like it's the more you like, it's harder to get 5. So learning the second is harder than the first. Learning the third is harder than the second. Fourth, the third, fifth, the fourth, like that. But not the specific.
In that case, they would go in order.
That would make sense, but they don't say that.
I'm pretty sure it's somewhere there.
No, but we're gonna look. But I do not recall it.
Oh my god. Tell me, we can just find this off stream and move on.
No, we're gonna do it now.
I'm at 8% battery. I've got to do the freaking time loop theory.
Well, keep talking. I can look at the same time.
Freaking annoying. Fine. Okay, and do the time loop theory. Fine. Okay. So Okay. So going to the time loop theory for Boruto, a lot of people have been saying that, like, you know, it's possible that this is like a future Boruto that came back to the past, or it's a different timeline, or a different dimension, different universe, alternate universe, whatever they want to say. There's a lot of ideas going on about this, and Kuro made a video. So the most interesting thing about your video to me was actually the fact that either you listed it so little or you didn't list it at all. The fact that, like, you didn't list that this usually comes from the idea that it's like a Dragon Ball reference, especially with, like, the Cell Saga, Android Saga, whatever. The fact that you didn't include that, and you just talked about everything else is interesting. I love that, because it's like the most obvious thing, but then, like, you're going more in depth with it and just skipping past that. I don't know. It was just cool to me. That's like the first time I saw that that. But yeah, so it's like Dragon Ball is like the thing, and they reference Dragon Ball all throughout Boruto. In fact, also in Two Blue Vortex, they reference it a lot.
That would
So they
definitely be a
could
Kishimoto style.
exactly they could be going in that direction. But you did mention the flash forward scene in your video. I'll let you go ahead and take it away from there with explaining that. I thought it was interesting. Never thought about that before either.
Flash forward scene. Which part of the
Where
video was that?
Boruto's dialogue is like, "There's no other option," or "There was no other
Oh
way."
yeah,
With their talking.
yeah, yeah. Ever since I saw that scene, I've actually honed in on that. I don't know why, but now I know why. It's
I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
yeah, the wording there, it gets me every time because it's like, was this the only possible outcome? The usage of the word outcome is what really strikes me because he really could have said, was this the only option? He could have said, is this the only way this could have happened? But
Mm.
the word outcome, like it draws my attention to like other possible outcomes. Like but Boruto at this point in the story, I'm guessing that Kawaki still as, very stubborn. I don't know if stubborn is, but like very focused when it comes to ideals. Boruto knows that Kawaki isn't like the very wishy-washy type of person. Kawaki says his ideals to something, he sticks to it, right? So this is a Kawaki who Boruto is known for years to be very vindictive in his manner of. So it's like, has Boruto tried this? Is this the only possible outcome? Is fighting the only way? And it's very possible that Boruto has gone through multiple scenarios trying to, as what he said to Shikamaru, which is to slug Kawaki and make friends or whatever. Get past the events that befell them both. But at the end, the only possible way is to fight Kawaki and to defeat him, which I'm guessing that Boruto is planning to do in that scene.
Exactly. And shout out the Spider-Verse movie. You also mentioned it's basically the same idea of like a canon event to where no
Right.
matter how they change the timeline, it's
Right.
inevitable. It has to happen that
Right.
Boruto and Kawaki are going to fight. It's like
Yeah.
fate.
I was gonna say
Across
it's
all
kind of like
timelines.
Attack on Titan, where Eren says like,
Yeah.
I tried all these outcomes, but this was the only possible one. It's not inherently because obviously if you ignoring the Boruto time travel arc stuff, it could just be a thing to where the what's the word? The type of timeline to where it's always the same no matter what. You just can't change it. In the case of
Right.
Eren, it's like
Yeah.
Eren's just always going to do the same things. In this case, Kawaki could be compared to Eren. It's like no matter what happens, Kawaki's always gonna try to end the
Going
Age
to
of
do the same
Shinobi.
things. Kawaki will always protect Naruto in every timeline. And he'll always be hell-bent on destroying the Otsutsuki, and eventually that will lead to Boruto and Kawaki's fated battle. Whether it happens earlier or later, it's going to happen. And that's why this is the only possible outcome.
Yeah.
And Kuro made a video on this, so I'll put the link in the description of that whenever people are watching this after the fact. So definitely go check that out to get his thoughts on that. I did want to explore a couple other aspects of this that weren't in that video, though, so best of both worlds. So, again, listening that it's no other possible outcome, this is also kind of similar to, like, Marvel's Endgame, when I think it was Doctor Strange looks in the future, 10,000 possibilities, and there's only one where they can win. In this case, for Boruto, it's like they don't even have that one. There's just none. There's just zero.
There's zero.
The
That's
inevitable
actually
path to the
terrifying to think
Yeah,
about.
they,
now I think about it.
Right?
Marvel doesn't have that type of timeline that we're thinking of here, though, because they
Yeah.
have the multiverse version.
So there's a lot of evidence within Boruto to speak to a time loop. It's not just the Dragon Ball references with Frieza, with the Claw Grimes, or with Boruto being Future Trunks with the sword, which even then, if Boruto's Future Trunks, that's kind of like saying time loop theory, but anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like they're hinting towards stuff, for example, the obviousness of like Boruto knows of a dark future.
Yeah, the
How does he
worst
know
possible
the future?
future.
Yeah, we're positive. And like also the fact that maybe that can come from the fact that he has the Jogon, the Pure Eye, which can see negative intent or other shenanigans. It can also see whenever like Urushiki's about to come through space time. So maybe that's a future sight thing. It could be a Toneri shenanigan. It could even be the Momoshiki future sight, the fact that Boruto and Momoshiki's mind space is like crossing over towards the end of part 1, and he's able to see like omnipotence before it happens, at least flashes of it. So maybe he can just do that more often now, and that's where the darkest future is coming from, worst possible future. Then you also have a few more subtle things, such as he's telling Sarada, don't die. And he's looking at her with like guilt or remorse. And at the time, people didn't know that Sasuke was in a tree. That's probably likely what it might be. but it's still possible that he's saying that because he's seen her die in the worst possible future. So
Here's
maybe
what I
he's
said
trying to
about
change
that.
something.
I addressed that point in the video actually. I talked about how Boruto looks at her and tells her to survive, right? And people assume that it was because of Sasuke. Even I assumed it was because of Sasuke when the chapter came out. But if you think about it, Boruto seems almost to be shying away from Sarada in that scene, as if he doesn't
Yeah.
want to tell her something. But he goes on and literally just sits down and tells her about Sasuke later. So it leads me to believe that it wasn't Sasuke that he was so scared about. I don't know.
Ooh, I got a really fun one for you. I can't believe we didn't think about this at the time, Kamui. Remember, I think it's chapter 5, might have been 6, where he's talking to Sarada, then Mitsuki arrives, and then right before he leaves, he tells Sarada, I'm gonna save Sasuke, and the second person, I forget, who is the second person?
He cuts himself off. He says, "Oh,
Oh, he
I'll
cuts
pull it up
himself
No,
anyway."
he said, no. He says 2 people, though. And then he cuts himself off for a third person.
Or I think, everyone who turned into a tree is what I think it was.
Oh yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
Master
I'll go find
Sasuke,
it, but-
everyone who turned into a tree, and ... He was about to say a third person.
I swear
We
to
were
rescue
guessing who it
Master
could have
Sasuke and
been.
everyone else who turned into trees, as well as ...
As well as that. Okay, so then we were theorizing that as well as ... It could be a reference to maybe it's Kawaki, maybe it's in reference to Naruto, and he didn't want to tell Sarada that Naruto's alive at that time, and it's weird because he's telling Shikamaru. So, okay, with this idea, what if it was Sarada, and he doesn't want to say that yet?
As well as
Ooh.
you.
Yes.
But why?
Yeah.
No, never mind. I'll be back. Like,
Oh,
why
that's
would you
true.
Why would you start the thing with that one though is okay. While I like the idea, it sounds incredibly goofy for Boruto to start to tell her instinctively as well as you. Oh wait, no, never mind. I feel like again, it's the same thing. Naruto feels like an easier slip up, or even Kawaki. It's just to naturally be yeah, and oh wait, I shouldn't tell her that because blah blah blah. But I feel like it'd be more obvious for Boruto if it's Sarada herself. Well, I like the idea, and I definitely think it works equally as well. It just feels like he should never have accidentally started to say it on that one. But
I feel like it's possible if it's an emotional trauma response.
no, I
just
agree.
seeing
It just
her
feels like that
alone.
one would be harder to slip up on, though. I feel like.
Okay.
I
I
can see
disagree.
both sides of that.
Yeah, I can see both sides as well, so that's fair.
I same exactly.
So-
That's why I'm roasting both sides.
So with this time loop theory, do we think that it's just him seeing future sight and that he's able to change the present and there is only one timeline, or is it like the time slip arc to where there just could be potentially, literally alternate universes?
Well, two
Either-
things on that. The first option isn't really a time loop. That's just Boruto seeing the future and trying to prevent it. I feel like the time loop implies that he's done it again and again and keeps failing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So
I
it
think
could
it's
still be a fixed
gonna be the latter.
timeline in that case. But the time loop just implies this is the second try or the third try or whatever try.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, Boruto's Byakugan doesn't allow him, or Momoshiki's or whatever, doesn't allow them to see events very specifically. Boruto definitely isn't able to target events. So how would he know that it would be codes chakra that would conform the Ten Tails into the Shinju? He would probably just see the Shinju themselves, the fine details like that inside what he knows is what makes me believe. I mean, he could have just studied up some time on the fucking Otsutsuki base on the moon during the time skip. Who knows? But I don't know. Just those
But
small
that's
details.
extra interesting because no, I agree. The thing with that is he doesn't know. He provides that as his theory, but then again, the fact that he sees the darkest future, how is that a theory if he knows this happens anyways? But then also, it seems like when he's talking to Shikamaru, there's also something about the future that he's not letting on yet that even now we don't know because Shikamaru is like, Boruto, what do you know? And Boruto's like, ...
Yeah, that's true. There's
Yeah.
so much
Seems like-
with Boruto now.
Yeah. Very interesting the fact that he's not telling anyone, because I don't think that's an omnipotence thing, but it could be along the same line to where he doesn't want to freak them out by telling them what's going to happen, because he wants to almost not accept the current circumstances, but change the future himself rather than relying on them to just go down the same path that they've walked so many times before that he's seen them walk. Maybe in the past he did tell them, and then that led to an earlier death or a different death. And so now he's just trying to do it himself.
And
Why
the
he's
only
strong.
possible outcome, of course.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. And so that actually gets into an interesting thing as well. Only possible outcome.
But
I think I'm ready to get into the... Okay, we're at 2% battery. I gotta hurry. And freaking, yeah. Okay, we gotta hurry. Okay. Okay, getting into the next aspect of this.
There are tons of characters, I think, in Boruto as death flags, which I guess can be our next topic. There are like
I feel like
a couple
for
characters...
this, if they want, especially if they want a bittersweet ending, I think the best choice would be the answer is Boruto sacrificing himself, but he doesn't realize that. And the irony of it is Kawaki's trying to kill Boruto. So in the end, he would have to die, but he has to die in a different way or something than what he's expecting. I'm not sure the specifics, but
like Samurai
because Boruto sacrificing Sarada is kind of just like, I don't know, man. Like,
it's a bit too cliche for me. I'm not gonna lie.
I'd be fine if he sacrifices himself, which is similar to the end of Samurai 8, to
Yeah.
where Boruto's trying for a perfect timeline, but perfection doesn't exist in the Naruto universe outside of Infinite Tsukiyomi. So therefore, the end is Boruto has to die, and that is the best possible timeline.
but it needs to be different from what Kawaki is aiming for, because otherwise, then it's just like, okay, Kawaki's just directly right.
Well, he's already directly.
He's already directly
Well, no,
right.
he already lost his point, though, as we've established. But
oh, right, never mind.
His point about the shinobi part, anyway.
Yeah.
So Kawaki's right about some things and wrong about others. For no apparent reason.
Literally.
No,
So, okay, I was thinking about that earlier. Do you want to do mine first?
Do your first, because I might get into a bit of a bigger thing.
By the way, side tangent, again, my phone's at 2%. I'm not going inside, so whenever my phone randomly dies at any point...
I like how you always do that for some reason. Just go inside, bro. Just end the stream. Just end the stream when the stream should end, not when your phone dies.
Never.
What if we're in the middle?
There's no stakes that way. It's more exciting this way. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but what if we're in the middle of like a really good conversation?
Well, you're still here to finish it.
But what if you happen to somehow be the star of the show?
Well, then, you know what? That sucks, but that's life, and we have to embrace the good and the bad. The peaks and the troughs, Kamui. You're ignoring the troughs for the peaks. You have Boruto's character flaw in this rewrite.
But what if we just forge our own destiny in a way to where we just are Hokage? Instead of...
We aren't Kawaki. Someone else has to do that for us.
Anyway, do your thing.
Okay, so people had the theory that in the Code Arc, when Kawaki was using his Karma Seal, just like Boruto when he uses Karma Seal, they seem to have more of the personality of the Otsutsuki they're using. Almost as if their influence is coming over them. Similar like Naruto in part 1 when he's using Kurama's hatred in particular to go in his rage form. So, with that in mind, it's possible that Kawaki's mindset isn't Kawaki's, that all shinobi should die, and that he's right because he's seen it himself. It's possible that Ishiki's ideology is leaking over into Kawaki's for some reason.
Do you think that can apply in their base, or only when he uses Karma?
The thing is that the Karma Seal makes no sense, and they can just use Karma in base, so at the very least, I can imagine it subconsciously being there, even if it's more there when he's using the Karma.
Yeah, because I say it would have to apply. It would have to apply in base necessarily, because the first time he says this shinobi or those who die early thing is in base to Naruto. So
yeah.
You could also say it could be like in Dragon Ball, the one of the movies, Goku absorbs a Super Saiyan God form into his base, and that just is his new base form. You could say it could also be like the symbiotes from Spider-Man, to where they have a base, but it's being influenced by the symbiote, even when they aren't using the symbiote's power or anything.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, realistically, I think because Boruto doesn't act Momoshiki like when he uses karma ever, like unless Momoshiki's taking control. So I don't feel like they're going for that route, really, even though it would make sense because Naruto becomes more Kurama like when he was using KCM, or not KCM, but like one tails, two tails, and so on. So I feel like it should be there to some extent, but they're not really doing it. The other way you could go about it though is the wavelength theory, to where, well, yeah, Kawaki is just being like Ishiki, but not because of karma, but because he just already is like Ishiki.
I mean, I wouldn't say Boruto's being like Momoshiki, but he's certainly less chipper into Blue Vortex. What if this has to do with that?
I heard
Momoshiki,
that.
I don't think that's him being like Momoshiki.
I know. I
heard-
know.
If anything,
I've
it's the
heard
opposite.
theories that Boruto, when he uses his karma now, will have a different effect than Borishiki. And rather than like Momoshiki taking over, it'll actually be Momoshiki's influence, causing Boruto to like act more Otsutsuki like. That's just not a rumor, but it's like a theory. It's a common theory that I heard people say, that instead of just being like Borishiki, now it's like just Boruto, but now he's like more like Momoshiki.
Well, that would be good. It's kind of like when Naruto's taken over in version 2 and stuff. The problem though is, shouldn't that apply to Kawaki still then?
That's true.
Which
Well, technically, because Kawaki
seemingly-
doesn't have Ishiki's soul. Ishiki's soul
yeah,
is
but in this
gone.
case, we're not talking
Yeah.
about the soul. It's just the chakra making him act like Borushiki. So
Mm,
the soul shouldn't matter anymore.
I mean, with Naruto, he wasn't necessarily acting more like Kurama in part 1. Like, Kurama was never saying that he's gonna break Sasuke's arms and bones to drag him back to the village. Kurama just wanted to blindly raid.
Well, I was thinking about the times when he's like, you know, like versus Haku, for example, when he's not saying words, he's just making beast noises.
Okay. And that's fair, because we were looking at that literally the other night.
Exactly. That's why I'm referencing it, because it's
Yeah.
on our mind. But so that's kind of what I'm thinking of.
Okay. That's interesting.
that is interesting.
But I think that they could do a crossover of all these things. The problem is, it just feels like it's not something that's consistent. Like
Yeah.
it's cherry picked when they want to do each thing, which I don't think they should do. I think they should pick something and go with it.
And really, because they're being inconsistent, I don't even think it is a thing anyways. I think he's quote-unquote acting more like Ishiki. Not because of Ishiki himself, just because this is what Kawaki's like when he has more power than his opponent.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. That's where we get into the wavelength thing. To
Yeah.
where
Well,
Kawaki
I wouldn't
just
even say wavelength. I would just say he's drunk on power, and he's like abusing his power in a way.
But
He's
that
just
could also be like
acting
Ishiki.
dominant. Okay, sure. Well, that's besides the point. That's coincidence at that point.
Maybe, but it could be fate. Either way, yeah, like it could just be how Kawaki is anyway.
Yeah. It seemed like Boruto was acting that way towards Code. Like, the difference between Kawaki and Boruto with their fight against Code is that Boruto couldn't kill Code. It feels like otherwise he just would have, because Code was irritating him.
Yeah, like he just wasn't strong enough to win that. And
Yeah.
also, this is a little bit of overkill, but like Momoshiki says, "Move aside, boy," before taking over. What if Boruto just did move aside and he just let Momoshiki take over at that moment?
Aww.
He's like, "Okay, sure." sure thing."
Actually, that's interesting. How early do you think Boruto could let Momoshiki take over? If Boruto was just like Code, like an Otsutsuki worshipper, he's just like, I love you, Momoshiki, please take over permanently. At what point, earliest, could Boruto have done that?
So to answer that, are we going to look at manga only or anime too?
We could include both, I suppose.
So, well, actually, I guess in both cases, I was gonna say he definitely couldn't have in the Deba arc because he gets knocked out and Momoshiki just doesn't take over. So I think that's too early. Likewise, the first time he even uses Karma is against Kashin Koji, and even then, I don't think Momoshiki could take over yet. To be honest, the earliest might have just been the Boru fight, or around that time, like as soon as he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Or like let him do it.
But Momoshiki didn't even ask him then. He was just like, fuck it, I'm showing up.
Because with that, Boruto seemed like he was unconscious and that he wasn't trying to willingly take back over or anything. He was just waking up from gaining chakra.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have to be after that. When's the second time he uses Borushiki? Is it in the Ishiki fight?
Yeah, Sasuke.
Oh my god. Does he use it before then in the anime?
No, it's just Boru,
no.
then Sasuke.
Feels like it definitely has to be that then, because Boruto starts waking up, but then like it feels like that's not enough, so it's like rip off the horns. Like if he just didn't care, didn't bother with the horn, just wanted Momoshiki to take over, I feel like he just could have taken over permanently at that moment.
I don't know, it's weird because like the horn thing, it's kind of silly. Like Momoshiki made it seem like it was such a big deal, bro. We've already talked about this before, but it's just like I don't know, man. Like, why was he freaking out so much?
Carl, what do you think about that? Is there something special about the horns of the Otsutsukis, or specifically Momoshiki's?
To be honest, I mean, I would like to say that there is, but I haven't seen any. Like, Sasuke cuts off Kinshiki's horn, and Kinshiki doesn't do anything except for really get mad. Like, it doesn't seem to like make him lose power or anything. So I don't really know why cutting off his horn would make Momoshiki tweak. Yeah, I genuinely don't really have any clue. I to be honest, if you ask me, I think it was just like a stylized decision to like signify the fact that he was getting rid of the Otsutsuki part of him by breaking off the Otsutsuki horn.
The
There
problem
could be
is that then
something.
he just comes back with a broken horn and like willy nilly, like nothing ever happened.
That is
later.
true. That is true.
But
And
like,
when
Momoshiki specifically was like, Boruto, anything but the horn. Like, it seems like he would care more about the horn than Boruto just taking back over, as if the horn is what mattered there.
He's like, wait, no,
something.
don't.
Like, he's really freaking out about the horn, bro. I don't know if you remember, but like, it's crazy.
Like, you know what the craziest part about this is? Momoshiki freaked out less when Boruto and Kawaki were planning to kill Boruto. In fact, I don't even know if he did freak out then. He was literally like, cool. But with the horn, he was like, no.
There may be something to it for sure.
Well, I think there should have been, but I don't think there actually was. Because it's never brought up.
I hope there will be.
Yeah. But again, that could have been in Kodachi's manuscript and then dropped when he got fired.
True.
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
You guys think there'll be more Karma users?
That's a good question.
Well, maybe from the two Otsutsuki that were scratched out.
I was gonna say that, but that's a cop-out answer. Okay, I got a fun one. This is so stupid. What if Kawaki's dad comes back as a villain because Kawaki's dad has karma? And he's strong. He goes back to abusing Kawaki. Because Naruto's out of the picture. Maybe this is why Kawaki brings Naruto back.
He has an Otsutsuki stronger than Ishiki and just beats Kawaki. That's actually insane.
Bro, I love it. They could theoretically even go that route. Like, just for revenge, Code goes to Kawaki's father to give him karma, and Code has essentially Ishiki's karma.
Well, Code's karma.
And hey, you want to talk about wavelengths? Who's on a better wavelength with Ishiki than Kawaki's dad? Like, that's 110% power from Ishiki right there.
Child beaters unite.
Yeah, literally.
That would be really funny. For other answers, though, well, actually, first of all, I don't think Code can do that because he's not an Otsutsuki, but that's besides the point. Karma users be okay as an answer.
Wait, what?
Two Otsutsuki.
Because what I was going to say is, I still don't know why they do this, but Ikimoto keeps trying to hide Ada and Damon's hands, and it is suspicious. Like, I feel like they shouldn't have Karma because everything they've said, but they keep hiding the palms of their hands like they did with Code, which is a little bit sus. So they could be two white Karma or users, or even regular technically, but
I just thought of the saddest thing. What if the 2 stone tablets that were broken was a Kodachi idea that Ikimoto doesn't know?
how does he not know? He drew them.
You mean
Or you mean like he
Kishimoto?
doesn't know what the plan was?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's true, but that doesn't mean he can't like use it anyway.
Yeah, but okay, but this gets you already know my point.
It could
isn't
suck.
going to be as good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kodachi's 2 random mysterious Otsutsuki are gonna be better than Ikimoto's 2 random mysterious Otsutsuki. It's just by default better. It's better.
I agree, but I still want them to be something, just so like
Yeah.
I'm like I get something, you know.
At this point, it is gonna be Ada and Damon. It's gonna be the biggest letdown ever.
Yeah.
That's just all the Otsutskis.
But
I really
do agree.
don't want it to
I
be
do
Ada
think
and
that
Damon.
Kodachi probably had something in mind. Ikimoto probably doesn't know. He's probably not going to ask him either. And yeah, so whatever we get just won't be like. I mean, frankly, that's the whole part too. Anyway, it's all not what Kodachi had, and that's why it's not as good. I hate the people who shit on Kodachi. Bro is writing so much better. Actually,
So
yeah. What do you think about that, Kuro?
Me?
Like, what are your thoughts on like Boruto versus Naruto?
Naruto.
Early part 1 of Boruto, mid part 1 of Boruto, late part 1, current 2 Blue Vortex. Like, just what are your general thoughts?
Okay, well, in overall arcs, I'd have to say that Boruto was written by Kodachi, illustrated by Ikimoto, story overseen by Kishimoto, whatever that means.
Up until
And-
chapter 52.
Up until chapter 52, where Kishimoto took over Kodachi because he got arrested for whatever the fuck, I don't remember something. But
Well, we got arrested, but yeah, you get the point.
so
Basically.
early Boruto, in terms of story, the themes are there. It's definitely, I think the first arc of Boruto was written by Kishimoto. It's basically a movie adaptation anyway. So
Yeah, it's Kodachi and Kishimoto co-wrote the movie
Right.
slash the
Boruto
arc
movie.
of the
So
movie.
it's essentially, but like when we get into the Mujina Bandits, oh god. Here's the thing. The arc itself, the themes of the arc is good, but Sarada has the worst characterization here in the entire manga. It is like the weirdest shits.
I
like
blame
the weirdest
Ikimoto
line.
for it.
Dude,
I
the
refuse to
fucking-
believe it was Kodachi.
The fucking what was it? Your boss. I hope he's my type. With the weird like lip bite and shit. Oh hell nah, that was weird.
I
I'm
think
not
that was
gonna lie,
actually a
was-
mistranslation, but I don't remember exactly. I think
I'm pretty sure it's a
the real
mistranslation,
translation is saying, "I hope your boss is strong too, because she wants to face strong people."
Shoot, that'd be fine. But there's some
Yeah.
other moments that I won't get into. But
Yeah,
The-
the classic.
the overall
Fight
content of the arc-
Shanaru, whatever.
really good. I think with Boruto Part 1, they had a really, really strong story. I think the thing about Boruto and why people struggle to get like connected with the characters, which this was also another video topic I was thinking about, is that Boruto kind of the way the arcs are set up isn't done in a way that like gets you interested in the characters. Because like, let's be honest, only now am I finally starting to care about characters who aren't Boruto and Kaki. Like, I respect their narratives, but like in terms of actually like caring about what happens to them, hasn't really been a thing for me. And I don't know. I just find like the way of writing that was done for the original cast and Boruto, because Boruto Part 1 is a story of Boruto and Kaki. Let's be real. It's not a really. It's called Naruto Next Generations, but it's focused on Boruto and Kaki. Boruto Tsubu Vortex is really like what focuses on the entire generation. Which one is better? I can't say for sure. Overall, right now, I have Part 1 over it. But that's just because there's more chapters, I think, and like there's more development. Right now, we're very into Boruto Tsubu Vortex, and a lot has happened, but nothing's happened at the same time. Like, we got new villains, but nobody's really been majorly impacted yet. Except for maybe those fodder shinobi who died to Hidari.
Yeah. So I
But
agree. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no,
Continue.
you're good. You're good. I was just gonna wrap up
Okay.
by saying, like, I think overall part one's kind of better right now, but Boruto would have benefited a lot from having like the arcs restructured so that the more grounded arcs were first, rather than the Momoshiki arc starting off like with such spectacle, because it kind of forces Naruto to be. It kind of like minimizes all Boruto's problems in a way. Like the Momoshiki arc, you see Momoshiki coming down and just fucking beating up an entire shinobi populations. You see him blowing up the entire tuning exam, and then it's just like it's fucking Boruto fighting random bandits in the middle of nowhere. It just feels like a downgrade. I don't know if any of you guys have watched Bleach, but
I've
if you
seen the
know
first
how
100 episodes.
okay, well, later in Bleach, like after all the great spectacle happens, there's something called the Fullbring arc, which happens later in the series. And the Fullbring arc is way more grounded because Ichigo loses his powers at one point. And so like they kind of revert back to like an older style earlier. And it's just not it just feels so out of place
Interesting.
because it's like such a downgrade in the power scaling that makes it feel unimportant.
Okay.
And Boruto suffers from the same thing because it goes from Momoshiki to Mujina Bandits. And I'm like, come on, if we started with the Mujina Bandits and then maybe went into the Ao arc, could we get to see Boruto develop his goals as, oh, I want to be the Shadow Hokage. Okay, we go into the Ao arc, we see the remnants of what happened after the Fourth Great Shinobi War, and then we go into the Momoshiki arc, which is like what happens after the Fourth Great Shinobi War, like what's to come, the ramifications of Kaguya and all the people. And we could have like the first couple arcs setting up Naruto and Sasuke behind the scenes, discovering more about the Otsutsuki. Who the heck are these guys, And that would have had more time in the manga. This is what I'm talking about because the anime does that, but it just does it horribly. But in the manga, we would have had more time to set up with the background characters to be a little bit more caring of them, But because
What
we
if,
start out with the Momoshiki arc, it
as
just
a hypothetical, because I proposed this before in the past, have you seen the car actuation arc of the anime? The one with Deepa?
are actually yeah.
So what if we cut out Mujina Bandits and replace it with that arc? Would you be more okay with that?
Oh, I definitely would. Imagina
Okay.
Bandits is a
Like
good
it.
arc,
Yeah.
but yeah, the car actuation arc is just like better.
I agree.
There's not really any other way to say it. It's subjectively a better arc, and it's one of the few arcs in the anime that are like original that I'm like, oh man, this shit is like just as good, if not better than some manga content.
Little bit,
it's
I
like
would say.
really,
It should have been in the manga. It literally, I mean, no offense to Mujina
yeah,
Bandits. Mujina Bandits is narratively good. It's just boring. The car
right,
actuation arc is
exactly.
more interesting. It actually sets up Kara like directly, and the villain, arguably the best villain in the series, the Boruto series, not Naruto, but Boruto. Like, so why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to know
It's
who actually was the writer for the freaking
it
car
was probably
actuation.
Honda. It's
Yeah,
probably Honda
Honda
Sensei. He does the anime.
that
Um,
was just like such a good arc.
it's hilarious to hear you say these points because it's almost beat by beat the exact same conversation we had the other night, Kamui, with J-Man.
I
And,
know.
like it's different points though. Like you should really go check that out afterwards. I'll send it to you.
Hey man,
Because I feel like you're gonna love hearing our explanation of this, basically the same topic. We can like address your points, these different points that you made, but I just love the fact that you basically are saying like the same thing, but in like a different way. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'll really quickly say, Kamui, even if my phone does die, okay, to be fair, I need a shower and get to bed anyways, because like I said, I have work in the morning. But like, you don't have to end it immediately after my thing ends. Like because I can imagine this keeps going for a while, so you can keep talking about this however long y'all want. But okay, so addressing this point by point. First thing is, even though Kodachi and Kishimoto co-wrote the first movie, I feel like at the very least, Kishimoto definitely, like, that's his idea from like beginning to end, regardless of how much writing he did. I think he probably wrote the whole thing, if not most of it. But I think like that was like Kishimoto's like love song to the Naruto series, almost like his exit
His
out of it
outro.
to allow Kodachi to take over. It's almost like the passing of torches, if anything,
I feel like it's
of him
kind of like what
teaching
you said
Kodachi
about
how to do it.
Ikimoto and currently, to where I think it was Kishimoto giving Kodachi a chance to kind of get involved as like here's your practice run. I'm gonna write most of this and you're gonna help me out a little bit before you take over,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Because I think in the interviews we heard him say, like, yeah, the Vanishing Rasengan, I didn't even think of that. That was Kodachi's idea. But, like, the Vanishing Rasengan, okay, so, like, that small thing and then the rest of the movie was probably you, right? And he's just, like, tweaking or adjusting, editing it afterwards, is my guess. Because, like, the whole point of the story is that, like, it's Kishimoto's self-insert of Naruto of being a bad dad because he wasn't there for his family. So he wants to write this Boruto movie as, like, seemingly a finale, at least for Kishimoto, so that he can go back to his family and essentially retire.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense considering Mujina Bandits, the notoriously, universally hated worst arc of Boruto, is the next arc. I will say, this next arc is focused on scientific ninja tech, which, Kamui, this is why I showed you that anime Babylon the other night, as well as Sagura Reset feels like this, to where it's a anime about ideas or concepts rather than themes that are personal. So it's like in Babylon, that final episode, it was all the presidents, like, with a universe background, literally talking about what the idea of good or evil is as a concept, rather than talking, or like showing the like father-son personal dynamic. That's not like a theme that's like directly tied into the human experience. Those are like separate concepts entirely that apply to the
Yeah, that's why I
universe,
said,
and
like,
it's
the
just like a philosophical aspect.
it's harder for it to resonate with you because it's not a theme rooted in humanity. The theme is a little bit more external. It's technology. Like, it's just going to be harder to resonate because, well, yes, it's about how we use these tools. That's still just not as heavy hitting as who we are in general.
It's more about right and wrong versus what you should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't even think we freaking really watched that Babylon episode to memory. We just like pulled up, like watched a minute or two of it.
The next like 10 minutes were just them discussing it or something, or the rest of the episode.
We probably should have watched the discussion. I don't know why we didn't. Like, that was the whole point of bringing it up. Whatever. Maybe do that some other time.
Did we never finish the Zabuza thing?
It's funny you say that. So the next point I know. Jesus Christ. The next point you made was the fact that I think you mentioned that it feels like there's no sense of danger, or that the danger's de-escalated from a threat as large as Momoshiki that's world-ending, bringing it back down to Mujina Bandits. It's grounding it, like you were saying with Bleach, it makes it feel more meaningless. That's interesting you say that, because again, this goes back to the discussion that I really want your take, or just for you to hear, that we had with J-Man, of why this might be the case. It could be because Naruto's around, and they didn't write him out. So even though he doesn't come to save the day, you feel like at any point he could. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. If we go into depth onto that was a crazy one. I'll also mention the fact that they did say, I think Kodachi, Kishimoto, whoever said it, one of the people that are making this thing, said that coming out of Naruto, they didn't want to draw those big scale fights with the large explosions anymore. They want to draw it back, basically. Okay, yeah, they want to like reset the power system. So they're gonna like make the fights feel smaller for the next generation because it's supposed to be focusing on them.
They could have just done that by making the arcs like more scaled, like just starting with the more scaled down arcs and then go raising them back to power. Instead of having like, I saw a complaint that's like Boruto feels like two people fighting in your backyard and you wouldn't notice.
That's hilarious. That's a funny point. I like that. I'll say agree, but I'm not gonna blame them for that because I feel like
Nobody would have. If
Boruto
Mujina
wasn't
was the first
planned.
arc, nobody would have gotten into Boruto.
Yeah.
That as well.
True.
But I feel like Boruto wasn't planned to have that in the first place, so like that escalation sort of goes out the window because I feel like Boruto Naruto the movie, there might not have been something after that.
Yeah.
And then Viz or Shueisha or whoever owns the IP was like, actually, we are gonna have more. And Kishimo just didn't want to, so he just stopped, and Kodachi was just like sort of screwed, thrown into the frying pan, so to speak. It's like, make more. Oh, okay. You want me to plan it first? No.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something like that. Could be possible why that escalation is like that. I forget what points you had after that. So Kamui, if you wanted to go, or Kuro, if you want to, I don't know, say more things.
Let's let Koro go again, because I feel like that was kind of
Okay.
the big one there. But that's about early Boruto.
Yeah. Oh, actually, okay, I did have something more to say.
Okay.
It's okay. It's really funny we're talking about this because your very first video, which I did watch, was very entertaining. I will say that. It was you basically clowning on Boruto haters on Twitter about like Two Blue Vortex. I think it was chapter 5 or something. I don't remember. It was funny. You're like, these brain dead takes, these people that don't even understand the story. I think the funniest part was like something along the lines of, yeah, they're Boruto haters, so it's unfortunate, because, like, I wish they had real criticisms that I could address, but, like, since they're Boruto haters, they couldn't even think of real criticism. It's some funny stuff. You ever go watch that video? Shout out Kuro. It's a freaking great video.
Yeah, the early videos on this channel were a bit more from the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom is disgusting. I think the first three all have that same vibe before I kind of switched it up and became more calm. Pretty funny.
You were on business there. That was fun. So okay, not to like go crazy with it, but Kamui and I are notorious around our comment section for being some Boruto haters. Let me tell you.
Wow.
Specifically, no, we are like huge Boruto fans. We love Boruto, especially part 1. It's really the end of Boruto part 1, the like prophecy arc, where we really start having problems. And I would say, compared to all other arcs, I would say this first arc of Two Blue Vortex is the worst arc of Naruto, even worse than Mujina Bandits.
Really?
Or sorry, of Boruto. Yeah.
That's an opinion I have not heard, actually. I'm interested in that opinion.
So, a lot of people, well, I mean, you were kind of saying earlier, a lot of people saying it's freaking hype and everything.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, there's not really much depth there now. Yeah, so that's really our problem there.
The only arc I think that would compare, for me at least, is the end of part 1 arc. Because if that was the case, though, it's more of I don't think it objectively is as bad. It's more the letdown of what could have been that gets me. So it might be my least favorite because of that, but it's more like a salty thing than it is necessarily that it is the worst. Because I think it is probably better, but I'm mad at it.
At first, like 70% of that arc is just straight good.
Exactly. It really starts in chapter 78. Up until then, it's just totally fine.
Yeah.
Minus maybe chapter 73 recap nonsense, but yeah.
But go ahead, Kamui, take it away.
Yeah,
you got a lot of thoughts on this.
So the Mujina Bandits arc, to start, I mean, technically, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just boring by comparison. It's not the narrative framework of the arc is totally solid. It's just the subject matter, the ninja attack, the Tento stuff. It's just not as interesting as the deep dark secret of Amado, or the truth about the Otsutsuki clan, or the truth about the Divide Tree. You know, it's just not as interesting. And that's really the bottom line for people's hatred of the Mujina Bandits arc. It's just not as interesting. Huh?
So I think that hatred also stems from a comparison. I think if you did the same thing as what you did in the Mujina Bandits arc as its own unique anime, no one would have a problem with it. They would treat it the same way they treat Babylon or Sagaretta Reset, and it would be actually appreciated by a certain subset of people because it's in the Naruto universe. They're comparing it to the themes of Naruto, and this doesn't feel like Naruto. They're more naturally inclined to hate it for that reason because they feel like it's lacking something. Not that it's boring, but that you're feeding this to Naruto fans who are already coming expecting this emotional, rich depth nuance.
Yeah, and it's also coming out of the Momoshiki arc, which has all that, and also because it's a shonen and you have people like ATG who they're looking for the big bang spectacle. The Mujina Bandits completely lacks in a big grand spectacle by comparison for obvious reasons. Boruto versus Shoujoji is certainly no Naruto and Sasuke versus Fused Momoshiki. You know, that's just reality. So in that sense, you know, to look at the types of fans you have, it's gonna be everyone's least favorite, at least one of the least favorites, just because, you know, it's just not as cool. That's not to say that there's any story structure problems with it at all, really. The biggest one is really they didn't really write Naruto out. Yeah. That's the one we talked about yesterday, or 2 days ago, whatever day it was.
So it's not to say that it doesn't work. It's to say that it doesn't work in Naruto.
It's not even that it doesn't work. It's just that it's just less interesting in Naruto.
Yeah.
Whereas with TIMELOOP Vortex, there's actual narrative problems and, in my opinion, more annoying, nonsensical things that are said and done. And Mujina Bandit doesn't have that. So I feel like Mujina Bandit just stands a steady average. Whereas TIMELOOP Vortex has got one cool thing, a bunch of random nonsense things to bring it down to zero. It's going back and forth all over the place, and it's like, okay. So it's more frustrating for me. We can get into specific problems, but I'm staying broad for now, intentionally.
Well, what would you guys say is your best part of TIMELOOP Vortex so far? Because in my opinion, it's definitely the Boruto Mitsuki fight. I love the Mitsuki introspection after that, and I think it was high time that Mitsuki had more than 3 pages and more than 3 lines that did not consist of Boruto as my son. Yeah.
Bro, finally. The only other person in the world that likes that scene. That is my favorite scene in Boruto TIMELOOP Vortex. I know that's not Kamui's, but at least,
conversation, you mean?
If we're separating moments from scenes, I'll give this my favorite scene, and I guess Kamui's moment could be my favorite moment, but I still like the Shinji reveal as a moment as well, with Hidari specifically. Yeah, saying got Chidori Clash, but Kamui, you can say your moment.
Well, yeah, real quick about the Mitsuki thing. So I love it. The one thing that keeps me from making it my favorite is the fact that the Boruto anime already did the exact same arc, and I just can't get over that. So it's like, yeah, I love it, but like it already happened. So I can't.
Because Mitsuki already found his will.
Yeah, I like it for Ada, though. Obviously, that has no impact on the Ada aspect, but my favorite scene, though, is probably still going to be the tree scene with Boruto talking to Kashi and Koji and the Sasuke tree in the background, because it was just the most theme-like thing I got from TIMELOOP Vortex. It was just the one moment when I read it, I was like, yo, this is the thesis statement of Naruto being paraphrased. And it's like, and I just read the last chapter of Naruto looking for something else like the day before it came out, so it was right on my mind, and I was like, all right, that is my favorite thing, because it was like I just felt themes.
Like Boruto looks up and says Sasuke, and then you get the reveal that Sasuke's in the tree, because you've been wondering where he's been the past 5 chapters at this point.
The theories were crazy, bro. People were like, Boruto killed Sasuke on mistake. Hey, what?
Bro, the memes at the time were legendary. Sasuke Uchiha. I'd never let that go.
No, the funny thing is, like, it was only a couple streams before that we were memeing about Sasuke being a tree. In fact, Oodie, I wonder if you remember this. We convinced Draco that Sasuke means tree in Japanese to support our theory that Sasuke was a tree, and then it turned out he was a tree.
It's actually really
funny. I love it.
I was like, why did that work?
Yeah, Ikimoto really was listening to the stream.
Bro, it's not just the Kawaki foot. But anyway, yeah, what's your favorite moment, Kuro, of Two Blue Vortex?
I already said it was a Mitsuki.
Oh, that's right, you already said that.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
you said that first.
there's two moments. I like the Mitsuki conversation and like the actual fight, but I mean those kind of blend together. So
Yeah.
It's a consequence of the fight.
I agree with Kamui's problem is that Mitsuki's already got this character arc beat by beat in the Mitsuki retrieval arc where he learns about his own will and why he's doing all this, etc., etc. They're just rehashing that for the manga. I'm not blaming the manga for this though, because I don't think the anime knew this was going to happen, or like they weren't like in connection talks or anything.
No,
like
I'm not
Ikimoto's
blaming
complaining
the
they don't
anime
have
for it.
freaking
I'm
enough
blaming
staff
the manga
anyways.
for it.
No, I'm not blaming the manga for it. I blame the anime for it in a weird way.
I blame
In
the anime
retrospect.
too. Lol.
Because the thing is, this works perfectly for this arc. It's about Mitsuki's identity
Right.
and finding it.
So I agree. The thing is, though, the Boruto manga has referenced the anime before. That makes it seem like they're trying to, or at least know to look at the anime. So if you're gonna do that historically, you talk with the Miss Field Trip arc or Hozuki Gas, all these things are in the anime. It's like, well, then you have to know that especially given how long ago, I seriously doubt Ikimoto hasn't seen the Mitsuki retrieval arc. Like, bro's gotta watch it, right? Like, so he should know that this already happened.
Well, but again, I'm not blaming Ikimoto. I'm just blaming the franchise as a whole for allowing this to happen in the first place. Just the concept that the anime and manga are doing the same thing. Not that either one is at fault.
Okay,
that's fine. Hypothetically, you're Ikimoto, you want Mitsuki to have a conversation with Ada about identity, about Boruto and omnipotence and love, but the anime's already done this, and you had no control over that. How, Kamui, would you rewrite this? It's almost unfair at this point.
Exactly, and so that's where it's like, yeah. So, especially, yeah. So I agree. Then, yeah, I would just play the whole franchise because they just shouldn't do these things. Like, if it's an important character arc, it should be in both, and it should be in the same arc. Like, they should be doing it the same way. And so, in this case, the Mitsuki desertion arc should have just been in the manga then, or vice versa. But, yeah. So, it's the franchise's fault for doing this shit.
It's
freaking Studio Period. I don't care who you want to blame. Shonen Jump.
When I catch you, Studio Period, it's gonna be over.
Yeah.
Whoever's not giving them freaking production assistants or whatever, the editors that they've been desperately clawing at for years. Please give us editors. We can't do it. Monthly's too hard. No. What do you mean, no? God.
But yeah, now out of curiosity, if you have to pick one scene or moment in all of Boruto as the best moment, what are you picking? So not just Two Blue Vortex, you have all of Boruto now.
Me and Kamui can go first if you'd like. So me and Kamui were discussing this last night. The other night. We listed like 20 or 30 possibilities.
Yeah, it's plenty of like options, but so
we have like one or two locked in. Go ahead, Kamui. You say yours and I'll say mine.
Yeah, so like if I have to pick, the one I'm realistically going to pick is going to be the whole countdown scene with Kawaki, starting from when he's huffing and puffing, then he's thinking with back Ishiki. To Jigen counting while Ishiki's counting down while stomping on Naruto, then Kawaki shows up and does the Shadow Clone Jutsu and all that shit. So the countdown part specifically, but even the Shadow
specifically
Clone
in the anime.
The anime makes it even harder, but even in the manga it's really good, but the anime goes a step further, like...
Exactly. That's my number one as well, but what could be arguably number one, even though I do think it's less, would be at the not very end, but like the very end of like the Boruto movie,
The
end of the Momoshiki fight.
that I said? Or?
I wasn't gonna say the fist bump. Well, you mentioned the fist bump. I think that's good too. I was gonna say before they go back to their original dimension, like one of the final scenes in the dimension is Boruto looking at his fist and like clenching it, and like Sasuke's talking about the heart of a shinobi is embraced. Like it's Sasuke winning the bet, and you get it's like a chills moment. It just looks so good. It feels so good for Boruto. I love it.
Those are both really good moments. I really
my phone died. Bye. Thanks for coming on.
All right. See you, Oodie. There's a bunch more we listed, but I don't know if you have any you want to say first.
I do like the Kawaki countdown, I won't lie, and especially the anime, even though I have my gripes with the anime, which is a whole other thing in itself, but the anime really like excels when it comes to adapting the manga content, given that they actually have the right scheduling and time. The countdown was just like exquisite, man. There was like the Jigen who was like the fact that Jigen came down to count.
Ghost.
Yeah, because like it wasn't Ishiki who tormented Kawaki all those years, even though it's the same person. It wasn't him. It was Jigen, and that's who Kawaki recognizes, and that's who he sees. It was just like brilliantly done.
Yeah, it was so good. That's why I was like, that's like my easiest pick. Like I have others that I really like, but that one in particular, I'm like, yeah, that's just the best scene in Boruto, probably.
Yeah, I mean, now you guys brought it up, like I have to agree. I'm not gonna lie. If I had to pick a second though, there's a couple scenes I could draw on. The Boruto Naruto fist bump was pretty good. I like to see the resolution. I liked Man, that Kawaki scene was really good. There's not that many things in Boruto that compares to that, to be honest. I do like the scene in when he talks to. Oh yeah, that's my second favorite for sure. When Kawaki talks to Hinata and Naruto right before he seals them, and he says only a crazy person can kill his brother. That might be my second favorite scene in this whole series.
Yeah, I liked that whole chapter. That was by far my favorite chapter of that arc. Well, I like chapter 75 a lot too for different reasons, but that was more just like the yay, all my theories were proven right in one chapter versus writing wise. I love chapter 77. A couple others I thought up that I really liked, though. Two of these involve Kawaki here. One is when Kurama's talking to Kawaki, and Kawaki cries, and Kurama's like, "Cause from the looks of it, you're not all dried up yet." And you see Kawaki crying, so it's like, yeah, he's not dry because he's got water on his face. Another one was when Kawaki's like thinking about Boruto, his brother, while Borushiki's beating his ass before Kawaki sets himself on fire. I thought that was really good too.
Yeah, Kawaki has some really good moments. I'm not
Some
gonna
of the
lie.
best.
In terms of like emotional turmoil, Boruto really doesn't have that much. They definitely, I think Tubu Vortex is going to focus a bit more on Boruto than Kawaki as opposed to part one. So hopefully we get some more of that shit, because Boruto in part one, like, he was a great character. He's still my favorite character in part one. Just off principle, because he's the main character. And I know that sounds basic, but it's just how it is. He had his moments for sure, but like in terms of like being an emotional like character for the cast, and like it just wasn't. Yeah,
there weren't too
wasn't.
many emotionally resonant moments with Boruto after the Momoshiki arc. Like, there's a couple that I thought were good, like Boruto when he hands back out the screwdriver, or that might be my last one.
That's it.
Like, you know, like most of them were in the Momoshiki arc, I feel like.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know. Maybe we'll get more in the future. I mean, hopefully.
Well, yeah, I hope so too. I mean, generally speaking, though, this is when I compare Naruto to Boruto, this is what arguably my biggest complaint for Boruto by comparison is just every time I rewatch an episode or reread a chapter, looking for whatever the hell I'm trying to find a scan of or whatever, I just end up reading the chapters and I'm like, the level of emotional resonance in Naruto is just so night and day by comparison. It's just like, you know, the countdown scene with Kawaki, that's freaking amazing. And it goes up there with a lot of good Naruto scenes, but it's just like, I can, for that one Boruto scene I name, I can whip
Yeah.
out 20, 30, 50 in Naruto that just give you that same feel.
Yeah.
It's just riddled with them by
I can go to the
comparison.
first arc of Naruto. I can literally go to the Land of Waves, Haku and
Literally.
Zabuza. That shit still makes me so. It's like it still gets me to this day, and I'm like, damn. Like, and it's really apparent, man. Like, it's really apparent, and
No,
it's
the
one of
Land
the
of Waves is a
longest.
really good example. It's like freaking,
Yeah,
it's fucking god tier by comparison. I'm
yeah.
like, bro, there's just nothing that compares to like Naruto talking to Zabuza and Zabuza crying and talking about Haku and shit. It's just there's just nothing, man. The countdown scene's all you got.
The scene when so Haku tries to get a rabbit. He picks up like the white rabbit. I don't know if you've seen it. And
Yeah,
then Zabuza gets the rabbit for him, and then he gives it to him. And I was like, wow,
yeah, I
like
know.
there was
Like,
just like no words exchanged. It was just like, man, we really don't get stuff like this in Boruto. And I love Boruto. Do not get me wrong. Boruto is still my favorite new gen, but like, you know, we could with Kishimoto like in a more apparent position. I'm playing with this interview that's coming on in August. I don't know if you've heard of it. There's
is this the one
Kishimoto
where they
and
go to
Ikimoto.
France, or is that
Yep,
what that
yep,
already
yep.
happened?
Boruto Oricon is one of the accounts. He's gonna ask some questions for the fandom. I don't know if you've seen his Twitter.
Oh yes, I saw a tweet about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we get some like more info on like Kishimoto's involvement because
That's what I want. Yeah.
they say he's writing. Okay, Viz says he's. I don't know. The weird thing about it is they never credit him as the writer. They only credit him as like supervisor. They credit him as creator, which of course he is because he created Boruto. But they've never ever once credited him as the writer. And Ikimoto isn't either. So it's like it's this weird blank space where even though they put him in all these positions, we're like, oh yeah, he's definitely supervising, he's definitely in charge of the story, but nobody ever outright says that he's writing. And it just like even no matter how much they say it, it just keeps me on edge. I'm just like something feels off. Like if he was really like 100% in charge of writing, I feel like they would just come out and say it. But the way that they skirt
Exactly.
around it
The
makes me
weirdest thing
feel off.
though is I don't know if I can find this statement. We have it somewhere in our Discord. We've shown it a million times on stream, but I believe it was volume 1 or 2, might have been volume 2's release, and there's a thing on anyway where it says creator/supervisor Kishimoto, but the important part is manga by Ikimoto, not art by Ikimoto, just straight up
Manga.
manga. And I don't know
another
if
thing.
that's meant to imply art or if that's
Right.
meant to just say
Yep.
that Kishimoto does something, but most of it is now Ikimoto, including the writing. Because
Yep,
there are
exactly.
signs of. Okay, first of all, have you read the Minato manga?
Yeah.
That shit came
Yeah.
out in the summer, in between part 1 and 2 Blue Vortex. And everyone we've talked to on stream so far has agreed that the Minato manga has a very different feel to it than any of the last year of Boruto. And that is Kishimoto. It's not just his art, it's the whole story. And that story felt like Naruto too, which I feel like it really makes you doubt that
It really
Two Blue
does.
Vortex is being written by Kishimoto because we just saw what his current writing is like. Like, how does that happen?
It's really odd. I hope we get some definitive answers with this interview that's upcoming. Because I really just want to know, like,
I just want the confirmation that Ikimoto's writing, because that's been my theory. It was my joke at first, but now that the manga by Ikimoto thing came out, it's like I actually think it might have been true. Because I was joking. This was back after very early of Two Blue Vortex in relation to the time skip. We were still. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But anyway, that was just joking. I was like, yo, I bet you Ikimoto's writing this. Bro's probably not even a writer. He's probably just an artist and they're making a writer or something. And it actually might be true. But I would just want the confirmation.
yeah.
But how did you feel about the ending of part 1?
Ending? Ooh,
Yeah.
Overall opinion, I think that the prophecy arc, the plot points were very good. I think that in terms of execution, it was a little bit obvious that it was rushed. Yeah,
But
that's
yeah, I
pretty
mean,
much it,
like,
to be honest. Like it's just
it
it's clearly
literally
rushed.
is an unfinished arc, narratively anyway.
But the idea, I can tell that like they planned it out. I don't know what happened with the pacing, whether they put too much in one chapter and too little in another, and then ended up having to cram or whatever. But I could tell like the key points at least were plotted. It's just a matter of, you know, did we get this in time? Was this submitted on the right schedule? Was this all the information we were supposed to put in this volume?
I don't really know there, but something interesting. We were talking about this the other day, which I didn't think about it before then, but I was like, honestly, it might just be true because we figure based off, if you really look at some of the nitty gritty writing stuff, it feels like a lot of the code arc may have been following whatever Kodachi had gone up to, just from like a blueprint. Like Kodachi probably was writing a little bit of the code arc in advance there. And it feels like some of it's probably there, but other stuff, Ada and Damon, for example, is stated to have been created by Kishimoto, his idea. So Kodachi didn't create them. So obviously they weren't part of the code arc.
Yeah.
But like the code and Kawaki dynamic, or even Amato, may have very well been Kodachi's general idea. And if you look at it, it feels like there's a little bit more Kishimoto element in the code arc, but then it kind of goes away. So Kishimoto may have actually been helping more at first, but then kind of weaning off and letting Ikimoto take over. But the big thing I was going to say is about the planning thing. I don't think everything in that prophecy arc was planned for a couple of reasons. At least not part of Kodachi's plan at all. Because not only does it not really make sense with the prophecy, Momoshiki going on and on about the blue eyes, even in chapter 78, and Boruto's blue eyes had nothing to do with it. More importantly, Kodachi didn't write Ada and Damon, so he couldn't have planned for Ada to use omnipotence on Boruto. That couldn't have been Kodachi's prophecy. He didn't create the character.
But the prophecy was written by both Kishimoto and Kodachi, though.
No, it was just Kodachi, because that's not in the movie. It's not in the movie? It's not in the movie. In the anime, or it's in the manga, it's all Kodachi there. So Kodachi wrote the prophecy. Kishimoto did not.
Anime, different stuff. I would forget.
In the movie, Momoshiki just dies. There's no karma. There's no prophecy. No nothing.
Yeah, I hate movie Momoshiki. He looks so ugly. It's just beside the point.
So it's interesting. I really like that fight. It looks goofier, but there's certain elements of the fight that were really cool. Like Momoshiki does some cool things in the fight, and more importantly to me anyway, the destructive scale of the movie is just grander, and it feels more like Naruto. Like, for example, Momoshiki kicking Naruto, instead of just kicking him into a wall 10 feet back, he sends him flying beyond a forest. Like, Naruto's like a mile away. It makes Momoshiki feel stronger, and everything they do in the movie is just so grand scale. But then in the anime and the manga, it's so toned down that it makes him feel weaker. It was like, I just really liked it in the movie, because I was like, it is the Naruto verse. I would prefer it to just not be scaled down at that point. It's just, So I love the movie for that.
I think I only ever watched the movie version once. It was a long time ago, back before I even watched the actual Boruto anime. So I've always watched the anime version, like whenever I
actually watched the anime version first. I didn't watch the movie for a long time. Like, I knew it existed, I just never watched it for so long.
It's also valid. The movie is just the what's it? First arc. I just wish that a bit more time went into the conceptualization of Boruto. That's all.
Yeah.
I feel like the series would have benefited from that.
Oh, for sure. They kind of just, because I was looking at it, it was only 2 years later. Like, the Naruto manga ended. Naruto Last came out right after that, and then right after that, the Boruto movie comes out. Right after that, the manga comes out. Like, it was one thing after another.
it suffers the same thing as, even though I think that The Legend of Korra is like way worse when it comes to being a sequel for numerous reasons that I could literally go on for hours about, than Boruto when it comes down to it. Like it comes down to the same issues, you know. Oh, this finished. Oh shit, we made a whole lot of money. Now we're not. Let's get a sequel on the air. And the author's like, okay, well, I need some time to sort out. No, let's get it on now. And then that's how you end up with like a bunch of episodes that literally have nothing to do with manga canon and having novels written solely for the purpose of anime adaptations. Um, it's just like,
Half of them they didn't even adapt either.
yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, wow. Sometimes we just need to get Studio Pierrot and just hit them with hammers.
Yeah, there's so many things they could have done. I will say this is regards to early Boruto, my problem with it is less it's not that they're it's just that it's like boring. It's that like so a lot of people they like to say oh well it's necessary for the story because it adds so much development to the side characters, blah blah blah. The problem is we're never led to care about those characters. They're just
Yeah.
randomly throwing in development for Chocho here out of nowhere
Oh,
for 2
God.
episodes, then Wasabi's team and Namida the crying girl, and it's just like nobody cares about these characters, so we don't care about this random one-off scattered development here and there. And
Ooh,
they're not even in the manga, which makes it all the worse because it's like
yeah.
we're going into it knowing they are as irrelevant as it gets because they've never even been drawn in the story. So
Yeah.
what you need to do in this case is something they've done this with Kawaki, which is where it's good. When you're, well, granted the manga should be doing this anyway, but like when you're expanding, developing characters actually in the manga and it's meant to like further serve towards what's in the manga, then it makes sense. You already care about the character and you're getting more from them. But the random ass characters, which is a lot of the early Boruto, it's like, well, I enjoy it because I just can't help but enjoy anything that has Naruto in the IP, but I don't actually care at the same time because there's no reason to.
Mm.
They never gave you a reason to care. And then half the ones you did get a reason to care, like Mitsuki, they just disappear and weren't relevant in the manga
Yeah.
for a long time, and so now you're just salty at the manga because like
There's a dude on Twitter who will argue with you to the end and back that all those characters like Namida and Wasabi are carrying the story, bro. I swear to God, this nigga pisses me off every single time. Oh my days. The characters like Namida, Wasabi, Iwabe, they're completely nothing. They don't serve any purpose realistically, and they will never matter to the overall story. So whenever they're on screen, it just feels like, why are they here? Why am I watching them? You know?
Like exactly
And
because in those arcs with them, like they don't serve the story. They don't serve a
Right.
function for Boruto's character or Kawaki's character or any actual story theme. It's just you're just giving them an arc or a couple of episodes, whatever. The point is the same. You're giving them an arc, but that arc has nothing to do with the story. It has zero anything to do with the characters who we are following. So it really
Right.
is. It should just be. It's like a light novel for Shikamaru. Granted, Shikamaru actually is relevant in Boruto, but that's besides the
Yeah.
point. The point is,
Yeah.
it's just the Minato manga. It's just you're just writing a separate side story. That's fine, but then probably shouldn't be like in this Boruto anime.
Yeah. These characters, they don't mean much, and I mean, like, they can provide. I feel like it's, again, this is another thing that I blame Studio Pierrot for. They wanted to be Naruto adjacent with Boruto by having like them replicate a Konoha 12. When Boruto's sidecast is not supposed to be the ninja world. But that's not the point of Boruto. Boruto's sidecast is different. That's why when people, in my first video on my channel, I got mad when people started saying some side characters have no development. Well, they're usually thinking of tertiary characters, like characters who are the Naruto equivalent of Part 1 Konohamaru, when in reality the side characters of Boruto are characters like Ada, Damon, etc. But because they're so used to the Naruto system of the 12 shinobi
Yeah.
and shinobi being the main focus, they expect characters like Denki and Iwabe to be main focus when they're not, and they're never supposed to be. And Pyrrhot encourages it by putting forth these characters who aren't actually supposed to be there and just bloating the cast with these bums, frankly, who don't do anything.
They're
and just
not part of the story of
right,
Boruto. And people don't
right.
understand being in the world isn't the same as being part of the story. For example, 1010 is still more relevant than Denki in the manga because she actually exists, but
Exactly.
1010 is literally just there for the world aspect of 3 members of a team. She's not
Yes.
really part of the story in any way. And that's why you
Exactly.
don't get anything from her because, well, she wasn't supposed to be anything. She's just there because they
Exactly.
need a third person for consistency in the world building. There's 3 members of the team, or 3 genin plus a sensei. So that's why she's there. Nothing more, nothing less.
Exactly. That's one of my issues when people like do the side character complaint when they're talking about characters who aren't supposed to be developed. Like, I know that sounds like wrong. Like, no, everybody's supposed to be developed. Well, there are just some characters that aren't like part of the main plot. Like, it's okay that not everybody's part of the main plot. Otherwise, your story becomes convoluted with characters you don't care about.
Exactly. Like, imagine if every single Naruto character was developed. You'd have this ridiculously scattered story that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Every single character you walk by is gonna have a whole character arc. It's like, no.
Exactly. I don't know if you ever read Naoki Urasawa's 20th Century Boys, or if you heard of Monster. Monster is
I've
one of
heard
the
of
ones
it,
that
but I
he
haven't
does
read
better.
it.
20th Century Boys is one of my favorite mangas, but one of the things that I admit that it does terribly is the fact that the cast is so damn large. Like, the entire story spans about like 40 years, and the cast just grows and grows and grows to the point where you start to forget who's a main character and who's not, just because like everybody's getting equal amounts of screen time. And I'm like, this series would have benefited by just having like more main focus on some characters.
Yeah, it's like you have to just like to some extent like so generally speaking, the best way I would look at it is just like not just like if they're there, but like how important has that character been to the story? If they're being used to facilitate a story's theme or the plot pushing the plot forward or having a specifically important dynamic with the main character and stuff, those are the characters that you need to expand upon in some shape, form, or fashion. But Joe Schmo down the street, who even like Nishi is really just a gag. He doesn't need development. He's really just there to, I guess, make us laugh, probably, at this point. I would like to know why they keep assigning Nishi to missions, but that's another topic for another day. But he's not supposed to be developed. He's just comic relief. And that's fine. Because Nishi isn't pushing the plot forward. His dynamic with Boruto and Kawaki or whatever isn't important. He's not representative of a story theme. You know, it's like, he doesn't need development. And he shouldn't get developed. If we're overly developing Nishi, then it needs to be in relation to one of the 3 things I said. Either pushing the plot forward, or a representative of a story theme, or a dynamic with the main character. Like, you know, you don't just... And that's the problem with like Wasabi's development or Namida's development. It doesn't do any of those 3 things I said. It's just a random character arc.
It doesn't serve the overarching narrative of the story in any way. Like, they don't contribute to the main themes. How does Namida or fucking Wasabi getting that cat Susanoo? Like, how is that? That doesn't know. It doesn't relate to Boruto. Parent or child has nothing to do with it. Doesn't relate to advancement in technology. Doesn't relate to
Namida crying. What theme is that supposed to be?
It's just stuff. It's just added on.
And
frankly,
I'm trying to think of like what. So the only side, I mean, I won't say only. There's a couple you could use. For example, Denki works for the technology theme for obvious reasons. He could be integrated at any time, and I don't see any problem with that because it coincides with something. Granted, the technology theme really hasn't been used in a while, so like if they do it now, I'd like them to actually get the technology ramped up a little bit. Like, if you're gonna integrate them, you really got to go down that rabbit hole. But they haven't done that since the OW arc. Really? Yes, it's there because Kawaki's a scientific ninja tool. We already have
Mhm.
Amato and Sumire and Katasuke on that.
Yeah.
Why do we need
But they're not
Denki?
really doing like
So,
scientific. I don't know. It's kind of yeah. You're right in that the scientific themes have kind of fallen off since the Owl arc.
well, not
Like
only
the
that though,
doctors.
because I have this theory anyway. Kawaki's ninja tech, and frankly, all of Kara's ninja tech might not even be like robot tools. It might just be things coming from the Ten Tails anyway. If you look at Kawaki's ninja tech, like big hand thing, it looks
Yeah,
identical to Hidari's wood style arm morphing thing. Bro may have
yeah.
just taken the Ten Tails and put it into people. The way Boro regenerates looks just like when Madara regenerates, and so on. So, like, we don't even know if it really is that much technology per se versus
Yeah,
just Otsutsuki related things. In which
yeah. I don't think.
case, all the more reason to not bother with the OW technology stuff because they already did it.
I don't even think it's so much as like technology. I think it's more like Mitsuki's like organic genetic
Exactly.
enhancement, right? Where it's like, it's not like Mitsuki's an actual fucking robot. Like, no, he's a real person. He's just like his genetics were manipulated.
I feel like initially, and plus, I mean, honestly, the big thing with the technology theme was just the how you use it aspect. That was the point. And we don't really need the robot technology stuff anymore for that. You can just use that with literally anything, but even not have to be technology. It's just any weapon at that point. So it's like, until they really give us something to make us be interested in a technology. I mean, I don't even know what other technology thing they're even going to use anyway. Like, honestly, I feel like they already did the one that they were going to use. So, yeah. I don't see a point in Denki right now. Like, I'm not going to say it's impossible for him, but I currently don't see one. Someone like Tsubaki, I could see if you want to tie it into a way of shinobi thing. So, of course, in her case, it's the way of the samurai, but you can use it to juxtapose with shinobi in some way. So, like, that one I could see potential in, but
Mm.
the fact that she's never existed up to this point, kind of like, I don't know about that one
It
now.
kind of
But
takes away from realism.
exactly. So, other than that, though, I mean, definitely not Wasabi's
Yeah.
team. Hoki, I don't see what theme you're gonna
Uh,
use with him. He's just
yeah.
bro just
I
looks
think
like
he's a cool
Kakashi. That's
character. Yeah,
like
but I think it's just because I'm a Kakashi fanboy. So it's like, in reality, this kid, he's not really doing anything for the story other
I
than to
like
be.
him because he's cool. He's
Yeah,
got a cool ability and stuff. Like
right.
the photo memory,
Yeah,
photographic memory, and his Earth style thing. Like it was all cool, but like
yeah,
there's no reason to put him in the manga because he has nothing to do with the story. The
yeah.
ones who do matter for the story are Team 10. And that's the ones I
Mm,
get mad about because I feel like they were underutilized or poorly executed. But those are the
yeah,
characters who needed the development. If anything, we should have just cut out all of Wasabi Denki, all these people, and just replace it with dedicated Team Inoshika-cho stuff. Not Chocho butterfly mode looking for a hot dude to like her arcs, but like actual relating it to Himawari really would be the important part here. But they should have gotten the dedicated arcs because at the very least, then you could say, hey, the anime did the job the manga was supposed to do. But it's, yeah, but they didn't do that. They threw freaking Nabida crying. Drives me nuts. They did that. The crying episode
yeah.
is literally the worst thing they ever did.
To be honest, the first time I watched the anime, I didn't even. I think it's because like I read. I don't know. I don't know what it was. The first time I watched the anime, it didn't bother me as much. I don't know why all these characters. Maybe it's because I didn't know better. Like I didn't know that there was like
I didn't care
alternatives to the
either.
story.
I just went
Right.
with it.
But then like after actually like reading the entire story experience and like the manga, I was like, wait a minute. This is like an entirely different story. Like this is not even remotely the same. Like yeah, sure, there's the same arcs here and there, but like the experiences are just like vastly different. And some parts of the manga are worse than the anime. And some parts of the anime are worse than the manga. But I will say this: the characters that the anime adds, like Jesus, man, these guys really like did not need to be here. Like they really didn't. They just
I
didn't.
I didn't care. Like, but there's a couple reasons for it. Like, I will, like I said, I'll eat up anything that's got Naruto in the title. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm too invested in the franchise at this point. You can, no matter how bad it is, I will still manage to enjoy it. So that's the first part. But the second thing is, I think when I was first watching it, I was just watching it and enjoying it. And as I rewatch and reread more of Naruto, granted, I've already watched Naruto 6 billion times, but having done so concurrently with Boruto makes a difference because I'm going side by side, and then actually starting a couple of other anime, which I didn't do for a long time. I only seen like 6, including Naruto and Boruto, but having done so at the same time as Boruto, for example, Death Note, which I'm rewatching and rereading now, I'm just doing it, juxtaposing the two. It's like, okay, that's where I'm like, okay, like, and I'm also actually doing more narrative analyses on the side for my channel, so I'm actually thinking about the themes a little bit more deeper, and so I'm like, that's where I'm like, okay, now it kind of annoys me a little bit more, and I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and rewatch the Namina episode. Like, I'll rewatch like the Kawaki Academy arc because I found it hilarious watching Kawaki do the stupid shit he does, but it also is relevant to Kawaki, a character I care about, you know, and it actually works with the story's theme. So it's like, I can do that, but
yeah. Well, I have nothing more to say unless you do. So.
Well, I always have endless things to say, but I figured we'd wrap it up here anyway, because honestly, my freaking back is killing me, and I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do about that.
Nice. So I hope you get better, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you. That was good. Well, I mean, I say this with literally like every guest we've had, because we like everyone, but we'll probably have you on again at some point.
Yeah, I'll be welcome.
Well, anyway, that's the stream, guys. Not much walking done today, but lots of talking. And over and out and bye as I figure out how to end the stream. I'll let it delay for a minute.